Hi, and welcome to another live AMA, this time featuring Devin Nash, who is one of the industry leaders on Twitch in like so many things, so knowledgeable, one of my best friends. And if this is your first live AMA that you're joining us for, we have like some pre-asked questions from Reddit. And you watching live, yes, you can ask questions right now, actually both in my chat and in Devin Nash's chat by doing at Mr. Matiki and at Man with Hat. Maybe that's all the people helping with questions, and they'll parse it into a document for us, and we'll ask the questions live, and we'll just be talking about a lot of things in general. So thank you so much, first of all, for joining us here today, Devin. Thank you.
Hi, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
And not everybody in my audience is familiar with who you are, and I don't think anyone is better suited to introduce yourself than you. So tell us, who is Devin Nash?
Who is Devin Nash? Like professionally, or what do you?
Everything, because like this isn't just about you professionally. This can also be about you personally as well. So tell us a
I don't
little bit
know.
more about yourself.
You want my life story?
Yeah.
Oh God, no one's ever asked that before. This is already the most difficult AMA that I've ever had.
That's how we like. That's how we like
Yeah,
it.
I don't know. Like, how long do you want this to be? Ever since I was a boy, I've always loved Twitch TV. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like,
Let's say like the last 5 years. Last 5
the
years.
last
Devin.
5 years. Okay, that's good. Last 5 years. When was 5 years ago? What year was that? It's 2015. So
Yeah.
2015, I was coming out of Team Dignitas, which is an esports team in the LCS, League Championship Series. And I was a regional manager. So in 2014, 1 year before that, I think that was like the beginning of 2014, I actually started as a volunteer coach. I went to Team Dignitas and I said, I think there's something to do in esports with player development. And I think that we could, like, because a bunch of people are just eating ramen noodles all day, not getting out of their chairs and waking up at 4 p.m. And I'm like, we can probably make a more optimal esports team than this. And because I had studied personal development all my life and like a bunch of self-improvement memes. And so I literally volunteered myself and said, I'll pay for my position by getting sponsorships for it. And then I did. And so we started at Team Dignitas until the point where I was running North America, which was 2015, 5 years ago. And after I ran Team Dignitas for a few years, I transferred over to a company called Counterlogic Gaming, and I took over as CEO there. And then I ran that with my business partner, George, also known as Hotshot GG, one of my favorite people in the world, until just about 2019, which we sold the company to Madison Square Garden. And then I came to Seattle to start an agency with my now business partner named Matt, also known as Sevidus, a really, really prolific Minecraft broadcaster, and also just like an amazing dude. And so that is what I currently do. I do two things. So simultaneously, when I came here to run an agency, I was like, you know what? I'm not stressed enough. I'm also going to run a Twitch stream. So I did run a Twitch stream, but I wanted to do a little bit differently. A lot of people play video games, which is fine, and that's definitely like the sort of thrust of the website. But
Yeah.
I saw just chatting as a category at the time. It's like beginning of like 2019. Like just chatting as a category was increasing at a ridiculous percent, and I was like, what if we do like a business industry type show where we just talk about what goes on in the business world, in the gaming world, in the Twitch world, in the media world, marketing world. And I use the agency that I have, which crunches a ton of numbers, and we do all kinds of stats, and we have research teams and all this cool shit. And we just talk about that stuff. And so I did a broadcast about that. It is today the #1 business broadcast on the site. Like nothing even comes close. And we made a YouTube off of it. So now I do two things. I'm part of that. I have that brand presence as CEO Andy or whatever, Devin Nash, whatever people want to call me. And then I have the agency that I run with my business partner, which now is up to 11 employees and just about, I think we're at like 12 or 13 talent, all of whom are like top 100 Twitch broadcasters.
One could say you become the authority on business on Twitch.
I hope so. That's the for better or worse for some people, but that's the idea. Yeah.
That's really cool. And you also play. You do play games as well. You play a lot of Path of Exile, which I believe you're trying to quit, and EVE Online as well.
I do. I don't play games on stream.
Yeah.
But I play EVE. Yes, I'm a prolific EVE player. I love EVE Online. It's my favorite game of all time. I've decided, and I've
Oof.
played it since 2004.
Ow. That hurt.
Yes,
That
long
hurt. That's
time.
hard to hear.
Why?
It's because I love PoE so much. I'm surprised it's not
Oh,
your
I
favorite.
know.
It's not my
No,
favorite game
PoE is
either.
like, it really?
Yeah.
What
Darkfall
is?
Online.
Oh, really? You like Darkfall that much?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, way more.
Okay.
It's not even contest.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay. Yeah, so I do play Eve, and I've played Eve since 2004. I have 6 accounts. Like big in the war, like crazy stuff. And then I do play Path of Exile, though I am considering taking some leagues off because I recently lost my entire personal life to Heist. And so I have to like
What
actually
a
literally
league to lose it
rethink my life.
to as well.
Yeah, dude, I loved Heist. I have no problem. I have no argument with that league. I
That's
know a
fair.
lot of people do, but I have no problem with it.
That's fair. For me, Heist was like my favorite. It was similar to Incursion. I love the league, but like not for more than like a month and a half.
I think that Path of Exile and Grinding Gear Games as a company is trying to find a way to get over this sort of meta they have of like 90% of the player base leaving after like 3 weeks.
Mhm.
And so to do that, they need to, that's like my theory. I don't have anything concrete on that. I watched how they released content in Heist and how they are trying to introduce new bosses, how they're trying to make, they're trying to like intersperse content, and they're trying to make the league more interesting later
Yeah.
on. And it did help. I mean, Heist has had the best retention since trying to remember what league, but long time. Like for 9 leagues had the best retention.
Yeah, but that's I would also say like quite a lot of the recent leagues haven't been very good. I'd say that's a lot to do with retention too. And I think
Possibly,
we're
yeah.
gonna see a bad drop off. But yeah, I agree. GGG totally should do like more dynamic leagues and stuff. It's something I've suggested to them for a while. And I remember Chris said like the problem is then they're gonna have complaints of like, well, why didn't we get this at launch? So
yeah, but I don't think that there's no way to make these people happy. Like
No,
you and
that's
I've
true.
talked about this before. Like Path of Exile subreddit at this point, which is sort of unfortunately the nexus of the community, is just a deep shithole that just like it goes to the center of the earth, and in it is just like living garbage. It's just terrible. And,
Yeah.
like the fact that developers have to deal with it is just ongoing struggle.
Yeah, no, it's true. I've seen a lot of people said that they were enjoying the league and then they went on Reddit and then they weren't enjoying it anymore.
Yeah, friends of mine have quit because of that.
Yeah.
And it's just and like there's a whole meme of like, you know, oh, it's Path of Exile 2, like that's gonna save us, and we just need to like work with what you have now, you know.
True. Very true.
Yeah.
I hope PoE 2 is gonna change a lot, but that's like a year or two away. It's like so far away.
Yeah, man, just look at what happened this year. Who knows are gonna be around in 2 years, man? Maybe like a hurricane
Yeah.
swallows the earth, like, or like the Norse myth. That's your deal, right? Like Fenrir the wolf devours the earth.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for Ragnarok. Ragnarok is gonna happen.
Right. Well, Fenrir is the wolf that comes at the end of Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Once Freya falls asleep, the world turns to ice, and
That's
Fenrir
it.
devours it. Yeah.
That's it. It's hectic. But who knows? It's 2020. I've stopped like doubting things anymore. I'm like, you know what? It's 2020. Anything's possible. How has 2020 been for you? Has it like affected you a lot personally?
2020, personally, has been a pretty good year for me. All things considered. Like, I think part of that is just because it could be so much worse, and it is for a lot of people. Our business wasn't affected at all by COVID. In fact, we've literally had every benefit from it. Every benefit. In America, we had loans go out to a lot of small businesses, and we qualified for that loan, so we were able to hire 2 new people off that loan. A lot of people ended up not using that loan for hiring. They'd bought like sports cars and shit, but we did. So on the business side, we had this like fascinating thing happen. I think it's fascinating, but like all these companies that were doing like physical advertising, or they were in arenas, or they were in wherever they were, they had to switch to doing digital. They couldn't advertise anywhere anymore.
Yeah.
And so like overnight, we were getting just like it's called RFPs, requests for proposals. Means like, hey, send us something so that we can do paid work with you. We were getting like 8 RFPs a day from companies, like big like Sony, Amazon, Twitch, like people that are like, oh my god, we have to like think about like an advertisement like TwitchCon and how you move that entire thing digital.
Yeah.
Right. And then imagine that for every company and that's what we were dealing with. And we're not the only creative agency in the universe, but we're a major one and an agent of record for a lot of these bigger businesses.
That's
So
really cool.
it was a huge increase in revenue, a huge increase in staff. We've been refusing work ever since, and I don't know if that's
Wow.
going away.
That's crazy.
And then from a streaming perspective, Twitch as a whole, as a website, this basically recovered Twitch as a website. The entire website went up 30%, which is insane. The year-over-year growth of Twitch is like less than 6%. So the entire website going up over 30% in the first month of COVID over global viewership. So all streamers benefited. Period.
Wow.
Like there's just more people on every category.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically like every aspect of my professional life went crazy. And then my personal life is a shit show because I work like 80, 90-hour weeks. I'm single again. And it's just that's just like the trials and tribulations. But even that's okay. Like I live in a great area. Everything's like pretty good. Yeah. So it's all right.
Cool. You can make a new series now though, like dating during COVID, and like that might be a hit too. You know.
Oh, sounds like fun, man. Yeah, great.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I'm not dating. I don't.
Just anymore. You're just done.
I'm done. Yeah, I'm gonna become a monk. I'm going celibate. I'm giving myself to the Buddha.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And you practice. There's actually one of our questions by Chronex42. You're known as someone who does a lot of self-improvement, but what would you say is the biggest self-improvement you've made in the recent years?
That's a really good question. These are hard questions.
I know we have great questions, and again, like for anybody watching that wants to ask any, just do at Mr. Matiki or at Man with Hat, and they'll record your question, put it in the document, and we'll try to like ask them underway here.
I was like 99% that this was all gonna be like tits or ass, bananas or oranges. Like
that's like in here too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, this is like a really deep question. Like, what is the number one thing I've done for self-improvement in the last few years? Okay, I have a literal answer, so like a tactical one, which is something that people can do, and I have like a more general spiritual one. Neither will take too long. The first general spiritual one is I've probably reinvested in I have a very devout Buddhist belief system. Theravada Buddhism, so like not like the weird like ghost shit, but like the actual scripture the Buddha said. I'm really into it. So I've reread a lot of that. I started like reading scripture again. I'm a really religious person in the sense that like I've read the Bible 4 times. I read the Bhagavad Gita, the Rig Veda. I've read the Tao Te Ching. I've read like a bunch of these books all throughout my life, and been guided by a lot of them in various ways. So getting reinvested into Buddhism. Because I usually reread a book by Hermann Hesse called Siddhartha every year, which is just a book about it's a German philosopher's interpretation of the Buddha's life. It's actually incredibly well done. He spent some time in India, and when I reread that got me reinvested in it. So that's been fantastic. That's on a greater spiritual level. On a tactical level, I think the best thing I've done is get better at journaling and writing. So I have a pretty sophisticated system of keeping notes and reviewing those notes and my goals over periods of time, particularly like every week on Sunday, every month on the 15th and 30th, and then every year with just like yearly goals. And it's been able to keep me on track really well. And I'm like, now that I'm coming up on 2021, I'm starting to prepare how I want to end this year. And basically all of our goals got hit for this year.
Awesome.
And some of them like went crazy. Yeah. So it's like super notepad.
That's
basically
awesome.
Basically my answer is notepad.
Yeah. No, I love your notepad. Whenever you bring it out, I'm like, okay, here we go. Here we go. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a very deep question.
Mm-hmm.
And like with all the self-improvement stuff you do, like do you feel like it makes a big difference in your life?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the number one thing that I have. So it started a long time ago. When I was 16, I was playing so much fucking EverQuest 1 that my mom had to put quesadillas under my door because it was the only food that was flat enough to fit under there.
Oh wow.
I literally would poop sock raids for like 16 hours a day. Like it was like it was just nuts, man. But I knew I had to change my life somehow, right? Because like I couldn't do this forever. And so during like raid queues, because there's like a lot of downtime and MMOs and stuff, I would just pick up books and I'd read self-improvement books. And because I had so much time, because in EverQuest 1, this is before the WoW days, and like I have a I have a, I guess, a sense of prestige about that. But like this also means I'm old. But you would camp things sometimes for a long time. Like I camped a particular robe called the Shiny Metallic Robe in a place called Lower Guck for about 3 months.
Wow.
And you're just sitting there, and then every 25 minutes a thing spawns, and it has like a 1% chance to drop this thing. And so I would just camp that, and during the time that I was waiting in those 25-minute queues, I'd read books. And I got to the point where by the time I was like 19, I had read over 700 personal development books.
Wow.
Because I was just chain reading all day, everything. And that got me started on that path. And then I got really into, I'd been invested in religion because my parents made me, not any particular religion, just a lot of world religions, that got me very invested in that. And then when I once I started getting into like esports and like started my first company, everything, which was like when I was 16, I was running like a weird like ebook service and was making a lot of money. But I started my first marketing company in my early 20s. And when I did that, I started focusing the self-improvement stuff on being a better executive. And that came to a culmination like during Dignitas and CLG. Worked really, really hard on focusing on productivity and executive work to the point where I think I got too good at it because my entire personal life collapsed, which is where I'm at right now. I'm now sort of like dialing back, and 2021 is going to be more about how I sort of kind of encompass and be more fulfilled as an entire human being rather than this like just like soulless machine that's like grinding out companies and selling shit, you know?
So you're gonna focus more on yourself and less on work.
I think I'm gonna focus on both, but I'm gonna focus more on empathy and more on like emotional fulfillment and investing in things from that impetus rather than just like success, like let's go, like money, like people, like viewership, like all
Yeah.
that stuff, like yeah.
So does that mean more or less video games for Devin?
Probably less, which is like why I'm like thinking about the Path of Exile stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like that seems to be the only game I don't have a good handle on. Like the way that looks to me right now, and this is I think something that like everybody has to do is they have to like evaluate everything and how it like sort of has a relationship with your life. So like when I look at Path of Exile right now, what happens is like 3 months I'm going along, subscribers are going up on YouTube,
Yeah.
everything's good, consistent streams, and then all of a sudden like my life's over. Like I have a huge beard, like my hair is everywhere. Like I haven't showered in like 5 days. I don't know what day it is. I'm just like I've got like 4 characters and I'm just like running around, and like it's 3 weeks later. My stream hasn't seen me. My family thinks I'm dead. Right? Like it's just you have to evaluate that. And I'm like, at some point, especially with like what I'm trying to accomplish, the cost and benefit analysis isn't there. The
So,
ROI isn't there.
so all in all, do you think video games have a net positive or a net negative on your life, including all the positive and the bad?
Jesus, dude. You are actually, I've never known this about you, even though I feel like I know you so well. You're actually incredible at asking questions, or these chat questions.
No, I'm
Is it?
I'm weaving in whenever I see a chat question that's like relevant to the topic. I weave that in, and then I just do my own questions as you're talking.
That's really impressive. Okay, so, uh, I don't know, man. It's a really tough question because on one hand, I think video games have provided where I'm at. Like if we really want to dial it back and like all the reason why I was on Team Dignitas, esports is centered around video games, Twitch is about video games, the agency that we run now is about video games.
Mhm.
So I think in that sense, I'd have to say that it was more positive than negative, but I'm hesitant to do that because there are so many people that's not true for.
Yeah,
And
but I
and
mean for you
also
personally.
for me personally, I'd have to say it is. And I would put a caveat though that I probably could have cured cancer if I didn't play EQ1 and Eve. I probably could have invented like the next thing inventor. I could have invented AI. I could have gone to another planet. I could have meditated so much that I became an interdimensional being. Like this is like whatever I could have done in 100,000 hours,
For
right?
sure.
Like I would have been Doctor Strange. But like I traded that for dank memes, I guess. So here we are. But yes, I'd have to answer that it's a positive.
And speaking of age, a lot of people are very curious. Obviously, there's memes going around that you're 52. I don't know.
54.
Do you actually share how old you actually are?
No. I can tell you why, though, which I've never told anybody
Sure.
why. Yeah. Okay. So I think when somebody there's a bunch of different ways that we can title, justify, or encapsulate people. We can put people in boxes. And if I tell you right now that I'm 29, there's a certain level of assumptions and a certain level of credibility that comes with that, or lack thereof. So if I tell you right now that I'm actually 21, to change a lot of people's minds about like what my business knowledge is, because they'd be like, "Oh, really? Like that guy hasn't been around that long. Like that's pretty crazy."
That
If
too,
I
and
said
then
that,
people are like, "Holy shit, video games is so bad for you. This guy doesn't look 21."
yeah, exactly, right? So 54 is the default answer, just because it just is. It's just like what people decided on. And yeah, I just don't think it's something that needs to be funny enough, like I didn't even go by my real name until I ran
That was
CLG.
my next question.
My whole time through Dignitas, I was Melixia.
Mhm.
And then I started getting into business meetings, and I had like the Death Star boardrooms of like executives, and they'd be like, "Well, so what's this militia thing? What's your actual name? Like, how we're not gonna parse this. Are you from that terrorist win game?" Like, I'm like, "All right, I gotta go with Devin Nash. This is ridiculous."
Yeah, so I would
Yeah.
love for you to talk a little bit more about that actually, because a lot of streamers are terrified of their like even their public name getting leaked. Right? Obviously, there's a
Yeah.
lot of like people being scared of like leaking their address and stuff like that. But I've seen so many streamers like mine is public, but I've seen a lot of streamers being scared of their surname being leaked, like their family and stuff like that. What went into this decision of having like Devin Nash as your actual stream name? And how do you feel about like security concerns?
Everyone knows generally. I live in Redmond, Washington. I everyone knows where I live around there. Like, if someone wanted to hang out, like, and find me, they could do it fairly easily if they watch my stream a little bit. I use my real name. There's a huge thing to talk about here because this is a really good question on a lot of levels. Um, Generally, my belief on brand building is this: if you are focusing your brand on building games, or making games, or playing games, then having a gamer name is good. But if you are focusing your brand on some kind of, let's say, like you're teaching self improvement, or you're teaching business, or you're teaching industry stuff, or you have a very large informational or educational component to your business, I think using your real name is better,
Mhm.
because transitionally, right? If I wanted to go create a Patreon right now, which is a separate platform from Twitch, and I just want to say, "Hey, I'm creating business educational stuff," or I want to go give a consulting talk at Microsoft, right? I wouldn't have any problem doing that. Whereas if I was like Melixia Silver Shoes, like I would have to work through that. So the justification was like the transition from twitch.tv/Melixia to twitch.tv/Devin Nash was sort of a deliberate move for me to be like, now I'm actually talking about real life shit. We're talking about the gaming industry as a whole. We're talking about business. And that's what every one of my shows is, right? No games. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And yeah. And so on the personal information question, um, the having worked with a lot of people, I don't, the thing that I can say that is really, really different, unfortunately, is on this platform, I cannot in any good faith recommend that women give out their personal information, because it is a insane how much more of a problem this is. And I will tell you a story. Okay.
Mhm.
So I don't know when it was, like 6 months ago or something. So I walk around Redmond. I walk around all the time. I have no problems. No one ever gives me anything. No one says anything to me. I'm just some weird dude, right? And I had Hot Chubby here. She went to come check out the studio, play games here, hang out. We did like a Just Dance stream, just like have fun. She was on her way to Vancouver to see Daft, so she stopped by here. In that day, we had 4 people stop us on the street, call at us from the balcony. One followed us to a restaurant when no one had ever done it before, because people knew where I was.
Wow.
And I've heard that from one of my friends, Amaranth, says, I've never met a woman that doesn't have a story. right? Like she like so if you're a girl on the platform, unfortunately, we have such a huge like the gaming world is so ooga booga in terms of its like
Yep.
mental around women in gaming. And we have such a problem with that that if you're trying to build a brand as a woman creator, I would really be careful. I hate saying that because
Yeah,
I've done a lot of media
it's
on this, but
insane.
it's true.
Like just looking at
Mhm.
stuff happening to like Sweet Anita and stuff as well. It's insane how like different it is. We've never had any
Yeah.
problems like that.
Nope, no one's gonna come to Ireland and live on your front lawn. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah,
Unless the
yeah.
Steel Mage or
True.
Nugian.
I have Noogie's here right now. He's moving out in
Yeah.
December, but yeah. No, for sure.
Mhm.
It's a very very different world. But it's good. Like do you feel like there's like I'd say like there are like other issues or like other streamers. Like for example, like what's his name? Like Crow Score, for example.
Yeah.
Like he does deal with like some security concerns. Like when his address got leaked, people started like ordering like a metric ton of food and stuff.
There are I don't want yeah, I don't want to say that like male streamers aren't um conducive to this, but in the politest way possible that I can say, many of the male streamers that do have those problems, they create an orbit where like attracts like, and there's some kind of reason why that happens, right? Like their particular type of content might appeal to a different sort of person. Whereas with women, it doesn't matter. If you just are a female with a
You
webcam,
exist, yeah.
you just exist. You could be the nicest person ever, and you get someone that's um, doing dark rituals with trying to figure out like casting spells at you and stuff. Like it's just ridiculous, right?
I've seen that
Like,
one.
yeah. I think like attracts like in that instance, not all the time. I remember at Trainwrecks, for example, like that dude had like a fucking 5-person security team. Guy had like a high threat response team at TwitchCon.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts. So it does happen. I mean, it happens to everybody at some level. And some people, I think, it's actually really possible when you think about it to live like a really private life. And a lot of people that we think about, for example, like Summit 1G,
Mhm.
just lives in like some random house in like Colorado. Very little, very like Lyric, for example, almost know nothing about him. So you can the key is to have, and I think this is sort of the takeaway. It's to have a understanding of how you want to appear. I think that's really important for
Mhm.
everybody, just in general. How do I want to show up? And I have a really specific way I want to do that. And
Yeah.
sometimes like a person like Lyric has that too, and that's why I don't think Lyric unironically had a stalker,
Right,
but it
yeah.
wasn't like an IRL stalker. It was like like an email stalker.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So there are ways that you can sort of covet this based on how you structure your brand.
Yeah, personally, I've been very lucky there where like 2017 or 18, I was getting death threats where some guy was going to like kill me. He was going to throw acid on my face because I got Valspark nerfed in Path of Exile. And it was so specific too. He was going to show up to
That's
my
so
meet and greet.
stupid.
He was going to show up to my meet and greet and throw acid on my face, and then he was going to kill me. And I was like, this is so specific that I don't really
Yeah.
know if they're trolling and it's just some kid on the internet or if I should.
Specific is actually bad. If you so more specific, having dealt with a lot of trust and safety
Yeah.
issues through the agency, yeah, that's the ones you got to worry about.
Yeah, I was
Dude, if
worried.
I can count the number of times that when I got the most of them, the most death threats. Actually, the second most was D&D.
Oh no.
Yeah, but unbelievably, the second most, not our D&D show. Our D&D show was at first was tough. The one I ran with you and Destiny and
Mhm.
Trump. That one was tough at first. The one before that I ran with Destiny was really bad. I'd unironically get death threats, real death threats about a dwarf that I play on
Wow.
the internet.
That's
But
crazy.
before that, the highest level of death threats I ever got was when I went after FaZe Clan. That was yeah, that was very bad. that is when I disabled my Twitter DMs.
Wow, that's crazy. That's
Like
crazy.
dozens a day. Yeah, it was insane.
That's insane, yeah. And wow. That's crazy. That's so long ago now as well.
It feels like a
Um
long time. Yeah.
and when talking about like serious topics like that, how much time and effort do you, because you said you have a team and stuff that does research for you and helps you.
Yeah.
How much
Mhm.
like research and stuff do you do yourself to make sure that you're fairly confident about the things you're talking about? And what do you do when if you are wrong about something? Like how do you deal with that?
Man, this is such a good question. Oh my god, these are actually the best questions I've ever been asked in any interview, like any interview type setting.
That's
Uh,
good. I'm glad you like that.
yeah. Okay. So I feel like I put a shit ton of time into this, but it doesn't matter. So one of the most toxic Twitch memes right now, this like Twitch meta, is this sort of clip culture. I actually recently disabled my clips, and it's cost me some because um, if I figure something out, like I recently figured out that Twitch is saving VODs and videos of like everything. Like, we're just saving VODs and clips of all of our stuff, even though it's deleted on our side.
Yeah.
So we can delete all of our clips as saved. And we were figuring that out on the stream. That didn't get clipped, and instead, like when it went to Reddit, it was a reference to like something else that was like random because I disabled clips. But I disabled clips because what was happening to me was I would get a 10-second thing, I would say, that in the context of like the 15-minute explanation I'm doing is totally relevant. It would get completely clipped out of context, and then people would assume something, and that would be the narrative they would go with. And then I would even get Dexerto articles written about it. Like it would happen all the time. This drove me crazy until I finally disabled these. So for the let's use the FaZe Clan example, right? A lot of people say that I called for FaZe to get shut down, or I said FaZe is going to shut down 100%. What I said was, if this goes to court in the way that it looks like, because this was a really prominent issue
Mhm.
where FaZe at the time was based, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not making any accusations, but allegedly they had very good evidence that they were not doing what they should be doing in terms of the Talent Agency Acts in California, the TAA. And there was some really shady shit going on. If that
Yeah.
went to court and everything got out and it didn't settle, it would have been a really big deal for FaZe. Now, I like to answer the question directly.
Mhm.
Here's the amount of work I put into that. Right, it was hours of research. I had a lawyer on, like an entertainment lawyer, on the show for 2 hours. I had a show with Richard Lewis about it. It was a very respected authority in journalism and esports. I did all of that, and even still, everybody was like, "You're an idiot. You're wrong. Doesn't matter." So I feel like we have a system of checks and balances where I do a lot of research on my topics. I have people I bring in authorities if I can. I will do hours of research on my own. And I'm also lucky enough to have like a research team that does hours of research themselves. But people will take a narrative that they just want to take,
Mhm.
depending on like whatever side they're polarized to for whatever reason. The people that are supporters of mine will pretty much believe me at face value, or
Yeah.
ask a few questions and then believe it. The people that are Keemstar supporters will believe them no matter what. There's no way that I can convince them otherwise. And I basically view them as free real estate. It's just free media.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah. Haters
Um,
are fantastic.
But with so many, like, there's so many like topical topics. Like, there's so many relevant topics you talk about, and like big
Mhm.
topics. So surely at some point it must happen that you actually are wrong about something.
I think I'm. I
And
think I'm.
wait,
My
let me
success
finish
rate
the
is.
question.
Yeah.
Let me finish
Okay.
the question because that must happen. Uh,
I was
and
about
I
to say how
feel
much it happens. Yeah. Mhm.
I feel like, yeah, well, you can get the say. I think the rest is important still. And I feel like, especially today, people are very scared of being wrong, particularly because of how people react when somebody is wrong. And I want to know, how do you deal with being wrong? Like, how do you take that and what do you do with it?
So I think I'm right about 60% of the time,
Mhm.
65% of the time. Which, if you look at like an esports player's like record in League of
Yeah.
Legends, that's really good.
It's really
Warren
good.
Buffett's right like 70% of the time. I'll give you an example. I'll give you a literal example. So last week, Project Melody got banned. I suspected that she got banned for sexually suggestive content. I thought the reason she might have gotten banned, because of the nature of how the ban went down.
Mhm.
You can't know, right? Because we
Sure.
don't have any insight into trust and safety. But um, what it looked like was she got perma banned because she got departnered, and then and she got immediately removed from the website. So typically, that means like there's repeated warnings. So I said, well, she was probably banned for sexually suggestive content. It turned out she was actually banned for DMCA. But what happened was somebody submitted multiple strikes at once, and 3 strikes took her off the platform permanently and departnered her because there's an automated system for that. I said, I was actually I was outright wrong. And there was like somebody linked me like a 3K upvoted thread multiple people it's a meme to say that LSF hates you. I'm actually one of the people that LSF like legitimately hates. I think a lot of Reddit hates authority, and also like I also like I'm complicit in it as well. Like I come off as a douchebag, pretty arrogant, especially when I know something, and so I have those character flaws, and they tend to gravitate on those. So there's a huge threat on it. Like, and I just said I'm wrong. I mean, like the thing is, I actually had a long time to think about this, and it used to really bother me. Like when I was deliberately wrong about something and there were so many negative comments about it. What I realized though, and I could say at this point in my life, I'm truly over the haters, because and the thing that did it, and maybe I'll link this to you later. It was maybe if someone in my chat knows, like when the Logan Paul podcast that we watched, the number of it, I think it's really important to mention here, because that changed my life. The podcast was about how Logan Paul deals with haters, and because he has a lot of them. And he went on. So someone's saying 103, and I think that's right. It was. I think it was Logan Paul, Impulsive Podcast 103. He talks about. Yep, thank you. That is right. Yeah, a couple people confirmed it. So 103, he talks about this deliberate act he put on when he went on Fox News, and how like he basically built this character for the show to deliberately get headlines. And it was fascinating. Like he thought he literally manipulated the media, and usually the media is doing the manipulating. He manipulated the media, and he goes through the exact deliberate problem. A lot of people think he's a very dumb guy. He's not. He's extremely smart. And like he goes through exactly how he did this. And as a result, he like scrolled all of the headlines that he got. And like all of the headlines that he got as a result of like all these narratives that he built. He told them he had pink eye. He told them he was out of money and that he was like losing his business. And so it was like Logan Paul loses his business. And he explained that every single person that hates you or dislikes you, and I hope this is some inspiration to anybody's ever going to try to create something, or that's afraid to. Every single person that hates you or every single person that is trying to do bad by you is actually working for you. The only way to kill somebody in this meta, to actually stop somebody, to stop a content creator, is to ignore them. Because because the way that our social media system is set up, if you engage with a person, positive or negative, like or dislike on your YouTube video, whatever, you actually add to their total reach. Because YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, everything views that as positive. They say, okay, people are engaging with it. Negative emotion is just as good to these companies as positive emotion, because all they care about is attention. The more time you're there, the better. So all of this is the same. And on YouTube, you can actually parse this out, and that dislikes and likes have the exact same value. They're literally the exact same to be able to engage your channel. If you think about this, it makes sense why. So if you have these like these LSF threads where I get like 2K upvotes on a comment, that's amazing. The 2,000 people or more that are reading that just heard about Devin Nash. And you have actually had stories about this where you've had a lot of people come in and like they've had an initially negative opinion of you, and then they just stick with you for a while, and they become they learn more about your narrative, they learn more about
what
who
I built
you are,
my
and they
stream on.
appreciate it. Yeah, that's real shit. So because of that, I think I'm truly okay with that negativity, because it's a sort of amplifier for what I'm doing. It helps me just as much as the people that like me.
So then I have an interesting follow-up question, because you've talked a lot on your stream and on other podcasts and stuff about how you suffer a lot from like imposter syndrome. Has this and like these realizations been something that's like helped you with that in any way, or like have you been able to kick that basically?
No, I think that's still okay. So I had a really long talk, actually a series of talks with Dr. K about this, and I think the place that I got to with imposter syndrome is this. So imposter syndrome doesn't come from external people telling me that I'm shit. It comes from me personally telling myself that I'm shit every day, and that like my content isn't good enough. I need to level up. I need to do better, and I'm telling myself that constantly. But the place where I ended up was, man, if I don't do that and I fix that, I think I wouldn't be who I was today.
Yeah.
You know?
So you think it helps you in a way?
Yeah, as much of a double-edged sword as it is, as much as it sucks to go through these incredible depressive episodes of like, man, and I really do feel that I want people to know, like, I know I come off as this like overconfident douche, but like I really do feel that like every day I'm like, man, I'm not stepping up to the plate at the level that I wish I was. But because of that, it strives for me to be 1% better every day, and I think that's a necessary component. It's like there's a really good quote on this. It's gonna take me 2 seconds to find.
Mm-hmm.
It's to progress again, man must remake himself, and he cannot remake himself without suffering, for he is both the marble and the sculptor. In order to uncover his true visage, he must shatter his own substance with heavy blows of his hammer.
Wow, that's deep.
Mm-hmm.
That's deep. And I feel like that can actually end up very easily that a lot of streamers deal with. Just because of the way the industry is as well. Because if you already have those thoughts yourself, they can be very, very easily like further amplified by Twitch chat. Depending on how much like
Absolutely.
stock you put in that as well. I've dealt with a lot of similar issues like that myself. And that was actually the first time we met where you actually helped me like snap out of it a lot. That was at the Corsair party. Like I got in there and it was like, all these big streamers and then me, and I was like, I was so out of place here. And then you were like being really cool and stuff. So that helped me a lot personally, which is
Thank
very,
you.
very
I remember
cool.
that. I mean, you did great. You're a natural socialite. You blend in so well with people, and just everybody kind of like really gravitated towards you.
It was really fun. It was Elgato
Mhm.
throws the best parties by far. Like a
The
lot of
most
the
responsible ones too.
yeah, like a lot of the
Yeah,
TwitchCon parties are just very, very rough and very bad. But yeah, it's
super bad. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's
yeah, it's
it's
not.
insane how bad they are.
It's not a meta that I miss for sure. Is like going to those and everything. Like
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
but I guess I'm more antisocial than most. But yeah. Mm.
We have another question from Kulski, who's asking, serious
Oh my
question,
god.
what is the first thing you do when you walk into work?
Oh wow. Okay. Yes, a serious question. Okay.
He had another one too. It was, do you
Okay.
wear
Yeah.
wigs?
Yeah, I do. Of course I do. The first thing I do when I walk into work, is go under my desk and cry for an hour. No, I'm kidding. Like the first thing I do when I walk into work is I review my daily plan. So I have a list of, I'm gonna pull it up over here. I'm not gonna show anything. I'm just gonna,
Mhm.
just kind of like, so I think that so if people are listening, I think this is probably the um the most valuable thing I'm going to talk about. Let's see. It's going to take me just a second because I got to find it. So I think that the quality of your life is defined by the quality of your questions that you ask. Okay. So if you ask yourself really shitty questions, you will get really shitty answers. So I'll give you an example. Why am I so fat? This is a really shitty question. Because the only answer you can give yourself is because you're a lazy fuck and you should feel bad about it. How can I lose weight? Better question. Now you're actually setting yourself up to have some kind of productivity or some kind of result. How can I lose weight in the next 30 days? Ooh, that's sexy. How can I lose weight in the next 30 days and do it by doing something that I love 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5 p.m. when I get off work? Right?
That blew my
So,
mind.
so the level of questions, so I have a series of questions that I ask myself every day. I'll give you a few of them. What are the top activities that are taking most of my time? What am I spending most of my time doing? What are the largest challenges that I'm working with? What is the hardest problem that I have to solve today? And what am I trying to accomplish? How do I take my 1-year goal and change it to a 1-month goal? Right.
Wow.
So yeah. So
I'm
these
gonna
are
copy a lot
questions.
of these.
I can send you some too. They're great. Yeah. And then every Friday at work, I do what's called, and I think this is one of the most valuable things that I do, is called an 80-20 analysis. An 80-20 analysis means I look at 80% of the things, 20% of the things that are causing 80% of my results, good or bad. So I'll ask myself questions like this. Say, what are 20% of the activities that are producing 80% of what I want. So I'll go through the list of my life and I'll notice that like every morning that I do yoga for 15 minutes, I feel fucking great for the entire day.
Mhm.
So that's a 20% activity. It's taking very little time, but it's producing an abnormal result. I moved a trash can into my bathroom so that every time that I floss, I can throw it away there instead of walking into my kitchen. This was a very small improvement that I made that has a very large and progressive result, right? In the same way, you can do this for negative problems. So, what are 20% of the activities and people that are producing 80% of my problems? So, typically in our lives, our problems aren't evenly distributed. They are individual, or they're even singular, right? You might just have like one boss that you just like hate interacting with, or you have like one family member that's causing you the most bad problems. Okay, write that down, figure that out, right? And so every morning that I come into work, one of my favorite questions, I ask myself this almost every day: what are 20% of the activities and people that are taking 80% of my time?
Oh.
So I'll think about that a lot, and I'll think about, okay, am I in too many meetings every day? Which is what happened like back at CLG when our company went over 100 people. I was in meetings all day, and what I actually ended up having to do as a result of doing this thought analysis was I went to like one of those traditional tea serving places, and I would have like a nice old Asian man. He would know who I was. I'd walk in, I would hand him my phone. He would hand me a bowl of goldfish. I don't know why, that's his thing. And then I would sit down with a notepad, like a physical one, and I would just think about problems with the company. Like what I think, like as an executive, one of the things you can ask yourself, not a really quality question, and as you're an executive of your own stream, so what is the number one problem that I'm trying to solve?
Mhm.
It's an incredibly powerful question. And I would sit down and I would physically write that with no interruptions, because I noticed that the 80% of my time was getting taken up by bullshit meetings, phone calls with New York, in the case of the Madison Square Garden, etc. So high quality questions, I think, can redefine your life. These are the first and last thing I do every day, 7 days a week.
Wow. That's pretty profound. I have a lot of problems I'm struggling with at the moment. So I might try to like adopt that idea and see how it goes. But there's a great time here for a follow-up question by Heart Attack. And he asks, what motivates you to work as hard as you do?
Oh man. I feel like my life has been really blessed. I come from a super cool family. A lot of really awesome things have happened to me. I have an obligation to serve humanity. This is gonna get super deep, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, I actually had a period of time where I came really close to passing away. I almost died, and I had a thought. I felt like I got hospitalized. I had a really bad fever. It was like they were like dunking me in ice baths and shit. I couldn't. It's not a story I've told. But like maybe I'll tell the whole thing sometime. But like I was really sick. And we couldn't figure out why, and nothing was working. And I had this is very young, like pretty young in my life. Like I was like I think I was 17, 18. It might have been my 20s though. It all once you're 54, man, it all passes by. It all just goes so fast. I don't know. It might have been my early 20s. I can't remember, but I was hospitalized, and I had a very clear sense that I had a choice in the matter. That like I could fight on or I could die. And so that prompted the question, why bother? Why come back? Right? Like this is going to happen in any way. Why not now? And is life, with all of its suffering, is it really worth just staying here? Because if by coming back onto that hospital bed, I'm going to be invoking a lot of pain and suffering into my life. And I decided that if I was going to fight for it, I had to have a really good reason. And the reason that came to me was anything in this world that I try to do for myself is going to ultimately be a futile endeavor in terms of fulfillment. And that if I was going to come back, I needed to devote myself to putting value to other people, because there's a really great Roman quote by Marcus Aurelius. It's used in a movie called Gladiator. A lot of people have watched. It's amazing. What we do echoes in eternity. what we do today echoes in eternity. It's from Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. And what that means is like so like we do something for ourselves. Well, we're a very like transient thing in this. Like we're going to be gone before we know it. But you do something for someone else, then that has a ripple effect to all of the people they know, to their kids, to their family, and that becomes or became the modus operandi for my existence. It was I want to serve other people. Everything I do is to provide value to other people at a fundamental level. And because of that, I went on, and I have lived that way ever since. And I can't say that I'm necessarily doing a great job of it all the time, but that is the motivation. That is the impetus for every day, and that's the eternal feel. Is like, as long as there are people on this earth to help, I'll try to do it in whatever way that I have a core competency in doing so.
You weren't wrong about it going deep. That's an incredible
Yeah, sorry.
answer. No, it's great. We're getting a lot of incredible answers here. I don't really have anything to add, and we're going to there's great answer. And we're going to follow up with Heart Attack's second question, which is like sort of a follow up, but also a lighter turn. If you could go back in time, what year would you travel to?
I would the classic answer is that I'd go back 20 years and invest in Amazon. but the real answer is probably I would really like to talk to the Buddha. That would be very neat, or Christ. I think that would be real cool. Either of those dudes would be pretty sweet. I think it would be probably incredibly disappointing to see how shitty life was back then. like as soon as I reached for my cell phone, I'd be like, oh,
no toilet paper.
Yeah, there's no germ theory. There's no there's like all kinds of things that just don't exist. I think a lot of there's like a lot of those people that are like, back in the caveman times, that was awesome. Like those guys were strong and like they were like super happy and like they were so healthy. It's like you get bitten by a bug and you're just dead. Or like smallpox like wipes out 4 million people in Cyprus.
Every time we used to have this question at my school all the time. People were always like, I saw so many people going like, oh, I want to go back to the Renaissance and stuff like that. I'm like, fuck no, dude. You get like any disease, you're dead. You just get killed randomly. Fuck that. I want to go to the future if anything.
There's so many like very small things that we take for granted, mostly in terms of antibiotics and disease control, right? Because like smallpox and the bubonic plague, like things like this, like killed like major parts of the earth, and still, and some like malaria still kills like an enormous amount of people outside of America and other first world countries. Sorry,
did you know the bubonic plague still has like loads of cases in America every year, for example, or like everywhere? But
loads is a strong word.
It's like 100.
Yeah, but we have 300 million people.
Yeah, okay, true. But still, like that I just mean it's still around, because I remember Googling one time. I was like, what would that be like today? And then I was like, oh, it is still around. It's just like antibiotics and you're good to go.
Yeah, it's like crazy people that live in like the backwoods that get it. And it's the same with like most of those diseases are sort of stamped out of. Now we have anti-vaxxers that are bringing it back, but that's a whole nother thing. But
I know.
That's an America problem.
I call them pro-plaguers.
I've never heard that before. That's
We're plague enthusiasts.
Holy, yeah, it's a big thing. So yeah, I mean, going to the future, I didn't know that was an option. For some reason, like I always think you just go back in time, but if you could go forward, well then obviously I'd want to live in Eve when I'm a capsuleer. And I'm piloting Titans and shit. But here's the problem, right? The really depressing thing about that is that we will very likely never hit that future, right? Unless something fundamental changes about our understanding of physical reality, which could happen. And then it's like there's like a possibility we find like an Eve gate or something. But right now, the propositions for us even leaving the solar system are extremely dim. I think a lot of people don't realize exactly how big the universe is.
It's also insane to think about how little time has passed for like how much we've done, though. Like just look at the last 100 years, the improvements and stuff. So
yeah, but
anything's possible.
Well, the thing is that it turns out that anything is not possible, right? Or at least in terms of our current understanding. So, for example, like we have a real big problem with time and the speed at which we would have to travel and how that parses out in order for us to travel to another place. Because if we want to travel to like a system that we think is maybe inhabitable, like Alpha Centauri, maybe like it would take hundreds of thousands of years to get there. And so the implications of doing something like this is nuts. Now, if we want to like go to Mars and like go have a hut there, that seems plausible.
Oh,
You know,
there. That's
yeah,
excellent.
you know, like we want to like punch some rocks there and do some Minecraft shit. Like, yeah, sure. Like okay, like that's stuff that we can do. 'Cause it takes like 3 to 6 months to get to Mars, and like depending on the its
Yeah.
orbit with Earth, yeah. But like and like this thing is like how little we. So my business partner is a PhD in astrophysics, and we
Oh.
talk about this stuff all the time. It's amazing. Just understanding how big our solar system is, like just before the Oort cloud, is insane. It's such a big ass place. Like the universe is so fucking big. It's so
It's
big.
insane.
Yeah, and unless we find something like warp drives make sense, or there are like wormholes. I mean, like I fear that we could come into. I could just my fear about going forward in time is I just go forward to a time when the Earth is just a nuclear wasteland, or we never got off the grid. And there's a cool theory about that. It's called the Fermi Paradox, which says and basically the stipulation is, why haven't we found life yet? You know, we're looking all around.
Right.
There isn't anything there. What's going on? And if you look at the universe on a multi-billion year scale that it's on, it could very possibly be that like entire civilizations have risen and fallen in solar systems near us, and they're just gone. In the same way that like it's very hard for us to find artifacts from 2,000 years ago from
Yeah.
our own species on our own planet, much less like another place. So imagine a billion years, like everything's gone. And so like an idea of that may have been that civilizations, life evolves, gets to a certain level of technology, like nuclear technology or like fusion technology, and then just blows itself up because we got crazy people that get elected for president or whatever and just push the button, and then it's over. And so like maybe these civilizations are essentially just imploding and doomed to destroy themselves. Maybe and it's very possible that humanity just doesn't make it. So this is a really depressing subject. Sorry, but that's why I don't want to go forward in
No,
time.
that's okay. Like
Yeah.
it makes sense, and we actually, I do have a very,
Yeah.
very cheerful question for the next one that I think you'll like.
Yeah. Good. Yeah,
Another
'cause
deep one
that
too,
was
though.
super optimistic.
It's it's good though. It's a very interesting talk. I'm enjoying it a lot. But
Me too. Thank you.
but
Yeah.
Tankman is asking for what has been your favorite moment on stream?
Hmm. Mm,
Is this where you just say like you don't have one? Fuck you guys, 777.
maybe. I mean, it's. The problem is I don't look at streaming in that way. I like streaming for most people is a full-time job. Well, most people in our
Yeah.
sector, right? Yeah. But I'm a person who looks like a full-time streamer, but I'm actually part-time. I stream
Right.
less than 15 hours a week. I stream 5 days a week. Sometimes not even that. Like 4 days a week,
Mhm.
realistically. And I sort of come on whenever. So like a lot of those kind of questions are like what's your favorite moment on stream? I don't think about streaming in the same way that other people. I stream to add value,
Mhm.
and like I'm here to like do something helpful to people, and then I peace out. And especially like lately, I've had so much less of like an attachment to this website because of what they've been doing with like we can get into
I
later
was
if you want.
thinking about rephrasing the question to what has been your favorite clip on stream?
Oh, that's a
Uh,
good one. Yeah. Well, I haven't seen my clips now. They're all gone, so I don't know. I there's definitely been a lot of like really positive moments. I'd say in general, my absolute favorite thing to do on stream is talks like these. It's being able to collaborate. That's why I have my deep dive talks where we've done talks with everyone from like Daft to like Maya to like Quinn to like Train to like everybody. We've had dozens and dozens of talks with top creators, all kinds of people. And we've like I've really get like the most value out of those conversations. Like these conversations are the things that are my favorite for sure. For sure, I love doing that above all else.
That's awesome. That's really
Mhm.
cool. And we can like the DMCA and clip thing as well is very topical right now.
Yeah.
And especially how they're handling it. Like, I remember, I think it was a day after that Twitch had said for content creators to delete all their clips. Twitch UK tweeted, share your favorite clip with us, like your favorite horror
Yeah,
clip with us.
that
And
was amazing.
I replied, like, do
I
you mean
saw
the
it.
clips we're currently deleting, crying face? And I just, the only hope I have is that this was something that had been scheduled like 2 months ago. That some like Twitch exec was like, this is such a smart tweet. Let's schedule this in for like the 20th of October. But like, it was like the most tone deaf thing I've ever seen. And it was like really hard to read.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the best quote from anyone on this is actually Justin Wong. I'll read the
Yeah.
tweet. And ironically, as a lot of people I don't think don't realize, Justin Wong was one of the creators of Twitch. He was he's an SVP and worked for Twitch for years. And he said Twitch went from less than one DMCA notice per week to thousands in May. They sat on them then for 5 months before releasing them in mass, giving creators 3 days to scan, archive, and delete up to 9 years of streams with no way to identify infringing content. Then 3 weeks later, they wrote a blog post.
It's pretty rough.
Yeah, it's I think it's the worst handling of anything I've ever seen in any business, any professionally, and I mean that. I literally do. Like at a platform level, it's abysmal. It's terrible.
Yeah. No, it's been very, very rough. But I don't know if I'm going to call this playing devil's advocate, but maybe a little bit of devil's advocate. How do you feel when, like, I've personally seen like streamers that I've seen like has like DMCA'd people for their content, and they're like very upset when people are DMCAing them. Do you think that's like ironic in any level, or?
In order to answer that question, we kind of have to look at DMCA as a law, right? Like as a whole, like what it sort of represents and what it's trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody that creates anything is automatically entitled to its copyright, as long as they can prove they've created it.
Yeah.
And in so doing, they have some measure of control over where it is hosted digitally through the system of DMCA. So DMCA is actually made to protect creators, because before it, you just get sued. That's literally what happened. You literally just get sued to take down the content. And this was a unrealistic system with like the digital age. And so this was this had to be made. So I see the issue of a broadcaster DMCAing their content off of a website as very different from what is happening with the music industry right now. The music industry, they think, correctly or incorrectly, whether you agree with it or not, that every single play of a song has a CPM value.
Right.
So it is worth, and they know what that value is. They say it's worth X cents. Okay, depending on a couple of factors like popularity or whatever, anything with that. So the music industry is literally hell-bent, and has been since 2001 and Napster, on monetizing for their own benefit, mostly not their creators, but to some extent. They say it's for their creators, but they get the large percentage of the deal. Monetizing this so that every song that ever gets played anywhere gets attributed properly, and they have the law on their side to do this, as well as billions of dollars in lobbyists in America to make this happen, which is one of the main pushes.
Yeah.
So I see those as the DMCA issue. There's the common like thing that a lot of the sort of naysayers about this will say is like, well, the responsibility should be on the broadcaster, and they should be able to know when they're playing copyright infringing things or not. But the problem with that philosophy is that that's a very narrow understanding of the law, because DMCA is so messed up right now that if you Zizaran, like you are like, okay guys, we're gonna go sit in a field in Ireland that I get permission from the city to sit in, and then I'm gonna put up a camera, and then I'm going to talk about playing Path of Exile. Like I move left, I move up, I hit a monster with my sword. And then I better hope that somebody doesn't drive by playing Kanye, right? Because there's a million different like DMCA is so difficult to navigate.
Yeah.
It's such a difficult problem that in its current iteration, it is almost impossible for any creator to follow. Like everything is best effort. So by virtue of that, we need to at least partially absolve creators from this.
Yeah.
Hmm.
and they're very outdated rules as well. And
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I feel like people are like very, very hard stanced. Like there's some trying to like figure out the best way to phrase this, but there's some takes I feel like I've seen from creators that are like a little bit insane. Like
Hmm.
I've seen people going like, "Oh my god, who could have expected this to happen?" and stuff like this. And I remember I asked in like 2016, 17. I remember I asked my partner rep about like copyrighted music. And he told me like, no, you shouldn't be listening to copyrighted music. Yeah, you shouldn't be playing it on your stream. Like obviously like actively listening to it, right? Like there's not really any license you can get to play it right now. And stuff like that. And he said like, and then I asked like, well, what about like loads of streamers like Soda Pop and etc. They're listening to whatever music they're like. And they're like, well, it doesn't really matter what other people are doing. This might bite you in the ass later, right? And that's for the most part always been Twitch's stance. So on that note, I think it's like kind of interesting to see people like some of people's takes. Obviously, like it is still a really bad situation and stuff. Like it's completely fucked
Well,
in the way they've handled everything. But
yeah. I think that it's important to understand, and we can look at a system like someone that's done this very well, right? Or
mm,
what even recently, like Facebook, where
yeah,
they just created a system almost overnight, using millions of dollars to be able to support broadcasters in this way for something that is a very tiny percent of their platform.
yeah,
YouTube spent 8 years on a content ID system that is the most advanced non-military technology that we have on Earth for detecting music and content. Period. There's nothing better than Google AI. It's the best. And
yeah,
so, like, Twitch had years of opportunity to build this system, to partner with someone for this system,
hmm,
and their decision was to use a very rudimentary system called Audible Magic, which captures like 30 or 40% of total DMC. Like, that's generous, right?
hmm,
And then leave the problem alone until it became such a big problem that it was basically insurmountable. Now, this goes into my deep state conspiracy theory that like I think that Twitch should have been bought by Google and not Amazon, and I'm like very firm on this. Like I have like a whole thing on it. Um, and if it had, it would have been a much better platform. That they made that decision because of the perceived control that Amazon would give them, which ends up parsing out later to be negligible anyway. Whereas Google would have actually implemented these systems and created a much better platform. But at the time, the executive leadership of Twitch did not want to do that because of the perceived control issues that Google they thought would
hmm,
control more things. And I've long since said that I think at the core of the problem in Twitch's company right now is the executive leadership, particularly Emmett, the CEO, who absolutely should step down 100%. Is completely incompetent and unable to handle this job. And I think that the regardless of the let's just like take all of it out. We could talk for hours and hours and hours about should they or should they have not done this kind of thing.
yeah,
One thing we could all agree on is that communication is the key problem in all of this.
yep,
Even if you totally fuck up, that communicating is clear. So if only we were on a platform where we could communicate somehow. We could do something like, I don't know, we could run a Twitch stream or something. Like that'd be crazy, right? Like,
that
oh,
has
like when was the last time the
been
CEO was on a Twitch stream? Outside of his one keynote per year? Oh, it was 8 years ago when he streamed to see if his tech worked. Right?
that has been the number one annoying thing for me about Twitch, and
Yeah.
I bring it up a lot. I've like, and obviously I am on the council as well. It's something I've talked about a lot there, and for similar things like that as well. I've said like it like actually angers me that Twitch is the number one live stream platform in the world, and their news are blog posts or videos.
It doesn't use its platform ever.
It,
And like if you look at the corollary of tech giants, right? So let's look at Mark Zuckerberg. He's on Facebook all the time. Let's look at Jack from Twitter. He's on Twitter all the time, posts every day. Let's look at Susan from YouTube. Susan regularly does collaborations with other creators. She was on Smarter Every Day stream. She's been on Casey Neistat. She's been all over the place, right? Like we don't have a leader at Twitch. We have nobody representing the platform. The only person we think of really is DJ Wheat, like Marcus.
yeah,
Marcus isn't even an executive. He's a partnership manager. I don't even know what he does right now. Like,
he's not a partnership manager anymore, but yeah.
yeah, I think he moved on to something else. He does some other thing. But like it is just a situation where like nobody and people have felt like this a long time. Nobody feels like anybody is in their core. And I've learned, there's a book by a guy named Jocko Willink. He's an ex-Navy SEAL, amazing person, runs a company called Echelon Front, which is a consulting company. And he wrote a book called Extreme Ownership.
Mhm.
And this is the very short concept behind this this book is that if you fuck up as a person, but particularly as an executive, one of the absolute best things you can do is take extreme accountability for that issue. In the way of just saying, like, look, I fucked this up. We had a question before in this talk about
Mhm.
being wrong. What do you do when you're wrong? Well, you take accountability. You say like, look, like, and like, it would be so powerful for someone from the executive leadership. I know Emmett can't do it, so and I don't want to. By the way, just to make this caveat, because I got to. Ziz doesn't necessarily hold these opinions. Like, he's involved with Twitch on a different level. This is exclusively me. Just my own opinion.
Whew, I'm not getting banned now, right?
I think Zizaran is actually very optimistic, actually overly optimistic on this fucking platform. And but he is a very good dude. His optimism has actually led to change. A lot of time, my pessimism does not do that. So, disclaimer. But I don't think Emmett's the guy to do this. But if we did have a guy to do it, or a girl, somebody came forward and said, "Listen, Twitch has been pretty shit, and we're really just fucking feel terrible about it. And here's the step-by-step process that we're going to try to do to do it better. And here's the actual objective stuff you can hold us to." So, for example, like every month on the 15th, we will do a blog post or we will do a live stream with all of our executive management that will be an hour and a half long and then 30 minutes for questions. And we will tell you how we're doing. We'll like, that's like an objective example of like, we will commit to this date. This, not like vague platitudes of like, well, you know, we're committed to making this a safer. Fuck you. Like actually put it down. That's extreme accountability. That's what we're lacking, and the whole community can sense that. All that Twitch has as a CDN, content delivery network, all it has is this community. All it has is this community. I want to be really, really clear on that. That the only thing right now that is making this platform different from YouTube or from Facebook is its community. It's the pogs in chat. It's the green frog. It's the emotes. That's it. If you don't have community, you lose everything. And YouTube will eat this website without a YouTube. It's not even a thing. YouTube has 50 billion, with a B, hours of gaming content every month. That is Twitch's entire website, including all game categories. Everything is less than 1% of that. It's 0.41% total watched hours across the entire website. YouTube is a leviathan compared to this website. They will eat this website if Twitch does not focus on what is important. It's the only core competency they have. It's their community. They have to fix this, or the website is doomed.
Well, there's actually like quite a lot of questions from people regarding this, which I think is going to be interesting to hear you like talk more about, especially about the DMCA stuff. And it's P Diddley asking two questions. Number one, how would a profitable model of a music streaming service function that could allow streamers to stream music, in your opinion? And two, well, I'll let you answer that one first.
Yeah, that's how could, okay, so the really hard part about that question is profitable. So how could a profitable model exist in order for broadcasters to utilize a service? The answer is profitable for whom? Profitable for the music industry, profitable for Twitch, profitable for the end user, profitable for the company building it. There are a lot of ways to answer this. The most realistic one right now is a service like Monster Cat or Pretzel Rots, where the client pays a monthly fee in order to get access to a library of songs that have been cleared, and then the company in turn pays a smaller fee to those record labels in order to for the rights for that music. The other option to do it that hasn't been explored is a Spotify type model where there's a per play, but this would take a content recognition software that doesn't currently exist. But if it did, you would have a per play system where a portion of the profit would be divided between the music industry and the company. That would be super optimal. Maybe even the creator. That'd be amazing. The way that it was currently implemented in Facebook is, it's important to understand, not to get too technical, but there's 3 licenses that you need to play one song. It's called a masters, which is like all rights to it. There's a mechanical license, and then there's a technical license. They all do different things. You need all 3, which is why Twitch Soundtrack, by the way, is fucked up. Twitch Soundtrack only has one of those 3 licenses. They only have the masters. They did not get the technical or the mechanical licenses to play. and that's why a lot of the songs on Twitch soundtrack, ironically, are can get DMCA'd. So we could. This is all a bunch of technical shit that nobody cares about, but
Mhm.
like it's important for the construct of the question that the most ideal thing to do if you were going to build if you're going to build something that makes sense is you would need to have a company that would be able to do live recognition, which currently exists. There's a thing that is called Art Cloud, which is can actually I did a YouTube video about it. It was found by a person in our community named Geekin, and it's a service that the RIA can use to actually DMCA people for live music within 3 seconds. It
Mhm.
saves a clip and everything. It's like super spooky, but that power can be used for good. It can be used for live recognition of knowing when a song is playing and then attributing the profit of that song properly to a combination of the company and the music and the label. And if we actually did a system like that, that could be highly profitable. But it's future tech. It's very crazy shit.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077 shit.
And
Yeah, it's hard.
and talking
Yeah.
about licensing and stuff like that, like this is before Diddley's second question, but I believe I saw a tweet by like I think it was Crip or Rania that said that they
Mhm.
had listened to copyright free music in the past or something that there was a license for, but that the license had changed and that they run into issues with that. How does that work? Like, is that a thing that could happen? Like, could you make
Yeah.
a song with a license, be like, Ziz, you have the rights to play this music, and then 5 years from now, be like, you know what, Ziz, fuck you.
You want to know about a really crazy story about that?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on YouTube, and I have a very short like dun 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 like that, and it's like a little intro for my music, my videos, and I put it on 74 videos. Not copyright free. In fact, it was from a copyright free library. Later on, those guys decided to get a label, and simultaneously overnight, youtube.com/DevinNash was completely disabled, DMCA'd 74 times. And I was like, cool. And the way we fixed that is we had to actually hire some people. We hired a bunch of people from the Philippines to go through every video and trim every single video and get that music out.
Wow.
So yes, that can happen. You can actually have a song that gets copyrighted or attributed later, and then and this is for the reason for like this is why something
Awesome.
like yeah. So this is like why something like Harris Heller's Stream Beats
Yeah.
is so good because he literally went to Fiverr and just made that music himself. So in theory, unless he just becomes like a supervillain, which would be awesome, but if he becomes a supervillain and then like that music for all extents and purposes is forever DMCA free, right?
Wow.
This all points back to DMCA is a mess. The system
Mhm.
needs to be but how do you do it when you're in a like America is a geriocracy? I think that's the right word for it. Basically means everyone's old. Like we in Congress, we need to the level of education that we need to do to get to the point where we can even explain this to Congress is so high. It's like almost insurmountable.
Wow.
Sorry. Hold on one second.
Yeah, no problem. Diddley had another question as well, which is how likely are we to see companies try and capture the licensed streaming music market?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
How likely are we to see the companies try and capture the licensed streaming music market?
Which market?
Like, I guess he's asking, like, how likely are we that, companies are actually going to try to monetize the streaming music market? Like, for example, like UMG and stuff.
How likely are companies in Melissa? Okay, the way that I interpret that question, I'm not sure if it's asked in this way or this is like the spirit of it, is like how likely is the record labels going to be able to monetize content?
Mhm.
They are coming. Oh, 100%. There is no. I mean, nothing is 100% because the universe could go into entropic death and we could all explode like a meteor could hit the planet. But outside of that, the record label is coming.
He's saying startups or new companies.
I mean, startups will try to solve this problem. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like a weird question.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Like startups will definitely try to solve the problem. Yeah.
And
But it takes like that's the problem is it takes legislation. It doesn't take like to some extent privatized business can only do so much in the current state of DMCA law.
and this is just a question for me that I'm curious about and something I've talked about a lot. But I've seen a lot of streamers talking about. I've seen some streamers saying they aren't worried at the moment and they are not going to change or do a thing. They're going to keep listening to the music they always have been, which I think is pretty forehead. But I feel like a lot of streamers are under the impression that somebody actually, I saw a tweet, somebody said this, they were going to continue until they got a warning, um, which is insane to me. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but somebody could just get triple tapped, right? Just like, here you go,
Oh,
here's
absolutely.
157 DMCA takedowns, you're gone.
Yep. Yeah. But more importantly, just like that's so smart because that is what will happen. That's not even like, oh, that's gonna happen rarely. No, like what will happen is you will get DMCA'd. Every individual play of a song is a separate DMCA strike. Yeah. So you will literally get triple tapped and you'll get, and that's it. Yeah. It's literally like getting shotgun in Path of Exile.
Yeah,
you
literally.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that's exactly how to think about it. It's not this thing of like, oh, like I'll just get a warning, and like that just shit doesn't work that way. Like all of the DMCA requests come in, and then you're like, oh, I'm good. I just won't do that again. But because also with the crazy stuff we figured out now, right, is that Twitch, even right now, just this, dude, the system is so fucked right now. I have to assume this is gonna get fixed, but as of the time that we are talking about this today, even if you delete everything, the RIAA can still crawl Twitch's public server and find all your clips and VODs and DMCA you for it everywhere, even years before. That's what happened to Moon. That's what happened to Syndicate. So like, like right now, there is actually nothing a creator can do. Nothing. Like actually nothing. I think like the only thing you might be able to do, which would be in an incredible bout of irony, is DMCA Twitch itself to remove your content. Like that's the only thing you can actually do, because like that's it, right? Because everything else, your host, you can't control what's on their servers. And so to that respect, yeah, it's a really, really difficult situation. It's just like it's just an impossibly difficult situation to manage.
Wow, that's kind of insane to me. Like it's insane how like all this stuff is. But I guess it's not really surprising. It's not really surprising, but it's
and it's gonna get so much worse, right? Like, I uploaded a VOD because I'm uploading all my VODs to YouTube yesterday. I watched Dave Chappelle's SNL skit on Twitch. Now, because of how my muting works, I did not play the audio to the recording that went to YouTube. But YouTube's video recognition still recognized SNL without the audio and said, you can't post this video anywhere that's copyrighted. It's the kind of stuff that's coming to Twitch.
Wow.
It's going to get so much worse before, like, it's going to get so much worse.
So
people have no idea how bad it's going to get.
So I agree, but I actually want to know how you feel about this, and like if you think I'm right or wrong. I said on my stream, I don't think this issue is going to exist in 3 to 5 years from now. I think that it's either going.
I don't think Twitch is going to exist in 3 to 5 years.
I think either like Twitch is dead, or there's been some sort of like. I think it's a short-term problem. Like within 2 years, there's either going to be like so many problems that it's insurmountable, and Twitch is dead, or that there's been some sort of like agreement where there is better licensing options in place, and it's no longer an issue.
I agree. I think that people that think that this issue can't actually shut down the website, like, don't respect the history that like YouTube had to go through with like copyright. Where like even doing everything to their best effort, they were when they really were building content ID systems. They were like striking people off the website. In 2007, they almost lost their entire website to a Viacom lawsuit. It was very close. It was like could have gone either way. And I think that streamers, we tend to think of ourselves as like really important because like insular in Twitch itself as a website feels big when you're in it. Sure. It's like someone like XQC is like, wow, like that guy gets 70,000 views. It's like so massive, bro. Like this is dog shit in the grand scheme of things with legislation, Amazon, Congress. There is not going to be a single consideration from Amazon, much less a lawmaker, where the way that Amazon executives think about this problem. I talk to Amazon executives a lot, right? Like is okay. This is a website that is causing 80% back to the 2080 thing, right? 80% of our liability, and is like not even at 0.0001%. In fact, we're losing money every year on it. Well. So why are we bothering with this?
Mhm.
And like we've got this whole problem. Like, what is our long-term vision? And so Amazon originally bought Twitch in order to capture a portion of the live streaming market because in the future they saw that as a potential vertical, keyword potential, as a success platform for their business. But the big thing that differs Amazon from Google is the ad network. So
Yeah.
Google has a very advanced ad network and they use it on YouTube to be profitable. Amazon does not have an ad network with that. Amazon only has an ad network for affiliates and for people that directly advertise via their products. So Amazon can't use their ad network to scale Twitch and doesn't want to in the same way that Google can because Amazon makes a shit ton of money off of AWS and the products that we buy from them. That's their business model.
Mhm.
So the business model isn't compliant or isn't doesn't work together with symbiotic is the word I'm looking for. It
Right.
isn't symbiotic with Twitch. And because of that, I think that puts Twitch in more danger of a long-term shutdown. So I agree with you. I think that in 3 to 5 years, this problem gets solved, that we have technology or a content ID system that makes it realistic, or the website is actually just either sold off, like Amazon just sells it to somebody, they deal with it, or it's gone. I mean, it's just gone. And
Mhm.
and somebody else that can solve these problems that builds a content ID system from the ground up, probably YouTube, will take over that mantle of
Top live streaming
live streaming,
platform. Yeah.
which is already happening. Like all the numbers right now. This is something that most people won't believe, but I think it's interesting for you to know. And most people will tell me I'm crazy, but this always happens. I do this with a lot of things, and I told you guys about TikTok. I told you guys about LinkedIn. I'm telling you about this right now. All of the numbers, all of them, point to YouTube being a far more successful platform than Twitch is for live streaming. Right now, they point to that. Twitch far less in every single way. We have individual users getting 900,000 viewers live on YouTube, like Laserbeam did in Fortnite. We have people like Corpse Husband getting 300,000 people on Among Us as a regular stream, and people like Valkyrie and Courage who are regularly streaming to 80 to 90,000 people. Meanwhile, the category for live streaming is growing at an exponential rate compared to Twitch, and they're not even trying. They're not even updating their UI. It's not even searchable yet. They don't even care. Because they have so much going on. YouTube, if you look at the data as it presents itself right now, YouTube has every advantage over Twitch. There is no shot that right now on the trajectory that Twitch is on, that it will ever be competitive with YouTube in the next 3 to 5 years. It's just not even. It's not even a thing. You can see that through the data, but right now it looks like I'm talking crazy things because like there's a zillion huge streamers on Twitch. Twitch seems to have everything, but this is how every story looks. Every big company looks too big to fail until it does.
So right now the only thing saving Twitch is frogs, green frogs.
It's green frogs, but it's also momentum. So Twitch being the first to market gained 75% of the market share. And that's a huge advantage. And it takes a lot to chunk into that, but it's worth noting that every quarter Twitch has been losing 2 to 3% of that consistently. So for the past 2 years, that is that they have been losing consistent market share to YouTube, to Facebook. And that is accelerating. If you look at the trajectory of Twitch as a website, there is no way that Twitch actually becomes like a 1.52 billion user website like YouTube is. It's just not possible. And I have a video about this called The Future of Twitch. If you ever want to look into like all the boring analytics about this and like all the data, it's all there. I have it all in like a fucking 2-hour talk that's incredibly boring. But for the one guy in chat right now, it's like, oh yeah, analytics. Like that's your video, The Future of Twitch. It'll show all this out in math. It'll like it's all there. But for other people, just wait. I will be content sounding like a madman until this happens.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a good friend of mine that gave me some really good advice. His name is also Devin Nash, and he told me to like focus hard on YouTube.
And how did that go for you?
Yeah, no, I've already hit 100,000 subs on YouTube, almost 100. I
Man.
think we're on 110K now. And yeah, it's been going pretty well, if I say so myself. So thank you for that advice.
You've been doing incredible. I think a lot of. Have you ever asked your chat how many people found you from YouTube?
Oh yeah,
you
all
should
the
do
time.
that on a regular basis. Yeah. The keyword here for people that are creating content or building brands is diversification. This is something that you'll hear at the dinner table. It's like, don't hold your eggs in all one basket, but it is super true for brand creators that I think right now, long term, the absolute best place for a brand to live is YouTube with a dash of, depending on your industry, LinkedIn is the one that everyone's sleeping on right now, and that's the one where I start sounding like I sound Alex Jones crazy when I talk about that. But again, I have all the
Should I
data.
be on LinkedIn?
Yeah, 100%.
Why?
You should be posting Path of Exile videos on LinkedIn.
Why?
And everyone's gonna be like, DevinNash is freaking crazy. This is the dumbest
No,
thing I've ever heard.
I'm pretty open-minded. I want to know why though. Like, pitch it to me. Why should I be posting Path
Okay.
of Exile videos on LinkedIn?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me try to find something. Damn. Let me see if I can find this. Geekin, are you here? We had a chart. Okay. That's really important. Okay. Cool.
And as an additional question, can I monetize LinkedIn? Is that possible or?
Not at the current moment in time. I mean, you can because it. Oh, sorry. Hang on. It's sorry, I got like a voice thing. I had to shut down. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Like, you can't monetize it directly yet, but that's not a reason not to do it. Like, let me sell you on it first, because there's a bunch of stuff we got to talk about. Is that cool?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. All right. So in 2015, LinkedIn had 396 million users. Okay. At the end of 2019, LinkedIn had 660 million users. Okay. So Q1 2020, 3 months later, 690, gained 30 million. Right. Now to put this in perspective, all of Twitch, right? The entire platform of Twitch has about 15 with COVID. The best thing to happen to Twitch in all time has about 15 million users come every day. So 15 million users on the website every day.
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn at this point in time has over 100 million.
I just made a LinkedIn. Carry on.
Yeah. So Q2, it goes from 690 to 706, jumps again, and then for Q3 jumps again to 722. So there are more users on these are active users, more active users on LinkedIn than there is on Twitch. But here's the thing, okay? Right now, if you go to LinkedIn, what do you see? I'm gonna show you. Because the number, like, it's just amazing that people think that I don't think about these things. Everyone's gonna be like, LinkedIn is a professional platform. That's where I put my resume to get a job. Okay, what is LinkedIn's number one goal right now? Their number one goal right now is they want to create a social media platform. Why? Because the longer people go on the website, the more money they make. This is the same goal for Twitter, same goal for Facebook, same goal for Twitch, same goal for YouTube. Everybody has this goal, right? So LinkedIn wants to make this a place for content creators to exist, because if they do and people are consuming content on it, then people will spend more time on the website. Therefore, LinkedIn has a problem. There are no content creators. Shit, we have 800 million users, but we have no content creators. So what happens? If you post on LinkedIn, it goes to fucking everybody. My friend, Ethan Evans, who hadn't posted on LinkedIn before, made a job post on LinkedIn. Just talking about his job. Not like just talking about what he does at work. It got 500,000 views in 2 days. The videos that I posted individually just to test this, with no other people, because nobody followed me at the time, I made a bunch of posts pointing to my YouTube videos. And I talked about the YouTube videos I was making about the gaming industry, right? And don't worry, people are gonna say, well, that's not gaming content. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. And my videos got so this video right here got 3,376 views in less than 3 days. Now, for a new content creator, you've never created content before, to get 3,000 views on a YouTube video, holy shit, that's insane, right? That's never like that exposure is unreal because nobody's doing it. Now, you might say, okay, but that's not like, what about gaming content? Okay, so that requires a kind of an understanding of how people are. If you like Path of Exile, you don't stop liking Path of Exile when you go onto LinkedIn. You don't just turn into a different person and be like, oh, I'm a job guy now. If you see content that appeals to you, you will click it, regardless of wherever it is. Your mindset doesn't shift. There's enormous amounts of marketing studies on this. So we have a situation, a very unique situation. This is only going to exist for probably like the next year,
Hmm.
where right now we have 700 million users on the website and no content creators. There's nobody making shit for it. So if you broadcast something on LinkedIn, it goes to everyone, gamers, whatever, everyone, and there's actually a very advanced system that that actually shows your content, just like YouTube and just like Facebook does. It shows your content to who wants to consume it. So gamers will actually get your gaming content. Path of Exile players actually get your Path of Exile. Why? Because LinkedIn's owned by fucking Microsoft. So they have this whole system, right? So like this is crazy right now, and like everyone is sleeping on it. Everybody is sleeping on how powerful LinkedIn is. It is insane. You can build a brand so easily on LinkedIn. It is literally the number one way to build a brand from zero.
I have an instant follow-up question then. Let's say that I just made a LinkedIn account and I want to start creating content for LinkedIn. Do I literally repost every single video I do from YouTube with things like?
I'd literally just syndicate every video there, and like what possible harm could it do? Just actually post every video that you would normally post, and then just put your description in it. That's all you got to do.
Probably
now, if you want to put more into it, you can make your own posts and stuff like that. But you're a busy guy; like you'd have to consider how that works.
Interesting, very interesting. I hadn't thought about it at all. I mean, I try to keep a pretty open mind to anything, even if I think it's silly or not. But yeah,
that is why you succeed. You listened to me on YouTube before anybody did.
True, it helped. Yep. It helped a lot.
No one listened to me on YouTube. No one cared who I was until I put on the mask. I'm telling you, I spend my entire life trying to understand what digital media is going to do and how the attention economy works. If I say that something is going to be good, I have a very good shot at it being that.
60%, right?
This is higher than 60.
All right.
This one's like 90, 95. Yeah.
Very interesting. No, that's very, very cool. I can definitely like see it. I would have thought that it would have been better to tailor it more. Well, I mean,
it is.
Probably
of course
it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just if you don't, and like that's the thing is like, okay, so there is a voice that you have to have on your respective platforms. Like the way that you advertise on Facebook is different than the way that you advertise on Twitch. Like to me, it's really crazy that like a political streamer doesn't advertise, that doesn't put everything they have on Facebook. It doesn't like practically live there, even if they're a Twitch streamer, because the amount of exposure you get from political content on Facebook is bananas. Mm-hmm. Now, in the same way, if someone's playing Fortnite, it blows my mind that they don't post Instagram clips of them playing Fortnite, which is one of the most successful ways to grow a stream. Like there are all these like little ways to interact with like a website where like for Path of Exile content, Instagram might not do shit for you. You might post Instagram clips there and nobody cares because there just isn't a vibrant Path of Exile community there. Yeah. But on YouTube, right, like where there are literally 30x the users that play Path of Exile than there are that watch it on Twitch. It's like a no-brainer. That's like where you live.
Have you ever tried to watch PoE live streams on YouTube?
No.
There's like one. Plus, yeah, it's really hard to find. YouTube.
It's probably a shit show.
It's very hard to find live streams. It's insane.
Yeah, for now. But that's a UI update.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The thing they have is the users. They have 2 billion users. That's the and the users are what it's actually hard to get. Right? It's like, would you rather have a perfect UI and a perfect directory?
You're right.
Yeah. Or would you rather have 2 billion users? Mm-hmm.
There's a question. This is we're gonna do like 2 serious questions back to back here. Raw Mountain
baby
is asking, do you like cats or dogs?
I like cats.
Really?
Yep, I'm a cat person. I want a ragdoll cat, which is a cat that is like a dog. It you can throw something, it brings it back. You can walk it, which I think is fucking, how metal would it be to walk your cat?
That's pretty cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. You can walk it. It's just a friendly thing. It's not like the typical cat, like, I hate you. Why am I stuck in this house? Like, get me out of here. Just feed me and go away. It's like a very loving cat, and it exists in this like universe of love, and that's like, yeah, it's great.
I was expecting a more like eccentric answer, like fuck dogs, fuck cats. I want like an owl or something.
I prefer a rare toucan.
Yeah, something like that. And then we have an even more important question, which is something I ask everybody that joins us on the show. This actually, like, depending on the answer, might get you kicked off the show. But pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Okay. I actually don't have a firm take on this.
This is the one you don't have a firm take on, really? After everything we've had today, like this is where you're not sure?
Yeah, I'm good. Either way, neutral. You
Wow.
wanna do it? Okay. You don't want to do it, whatever.
Wow.
To be honest, like I think if I had a total preference, I would prefer like a 5-cheese, thick, heart-stopping pizza with nothing on it, like gourmet cheese.
Really?
Just get it in there. Stuff like 5-alarm heart attack. That's it. Love it. Yes.
Damn. I would
Simple,
do
meat and
like
potatoes.
wait.
My
Did you just say
favorite sexual
potatoes?
position is consensual missionary position.
On pizza?
No, nothing dramatic. Yes.
Uh,
No. 5-cheese pizza, no toppings, as it's delivered. That's it. I'm a very simple man with simple pleasures.
I felt like I'm a simple man, but like my favorite pizza would be like beef, bacon, meatballs, pepperoni, maybe like.
What do you try to do? You try to solve like the fucking anti-life equation? Like what do you like? What
like
is this?
meat.
Like that's too much. That's a bunch of shit, dude. Just like give me my cheese pizza. I'm good. Now you want to put that shit on it, I'll eat it. You want meat lovers pizza, I'm down.
Yeah.
Right?
That's actually what it's called.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. It's like that I love pizza. I fucking love pizza. How can I hate any kind of pizza? That's the thing, is like I think these pizza gatekeepers, they're ignoring the fact that, listen, we live in a troubled time, Zizaran. Okay, it's 2020. Like there's wildfires, there's fucking subtle undertones of racism, there's all kinds of problems. We need to come together on our mutual love of pizza. We need to appreciate all pizza is created equal. That's my opinion. I think that pizza is beautiful as it is.
I'm not willing. I'm not willing to compensate here. Like on my stream, I have very like little like I have very I don't do much serious content. Like I don't talk about politics. I don't talk about religion or anything like that. Like I don't talk about anything like that I would say like is important topics. Like I try to keep my stream very mellow. So I feel like it's important for me to hard stance on both pineapple and pizza and dabbing. Like that's where I draw the line. That's like my important topics.
I dab all the time.
Yeah, I know. I'm scared. Yeah. That's like we talked about it. It's like, is it a risk having Devin Nash on my stream?
Is it a brand risk?
Yeah. So
yeah, dude, it's actually insane. I can feel like vibrations in my arms. Like when I said the word dab, I'm so like every fiber of my being just has to like just throw one down so hard that the fucking like building falls down. Yeah, but I'm resisting it with all my fiber. Yeah, my muscles are like ready. Like the sensation in them is just like, dude, just pop the fattest dab and bring the house down.
Please don't. That's where I really draw the line. But we'll move on quickly here. But Vaush is asking, can I take Devin out for a pizza if he'll show me his favorite pizza place?
Is this a date?
I think so.
I'm really trying to stay single right now.
Okay.
But maybe. Yeah, I mean, I have my only rule is no influencers. That's my only rule for dating.
That's fair. That's a good rule. That's a smart rule.
It's an incredible rule. Can we talk about that for a second?
Sure. Yeah. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Oh my god! Like, why would you ever want to have another Twitch streamer? Yes, I'm single. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Enough of that. Like I got everyone in my chat like they're all like caps like you're single like okay yeah, ladies, calm down ladies, the fat analytics guy is single. Here we go. Okay, wow, I'll take lineups outside my office, thanks.
Nice.
Yeah, okay,
nice.
Yeah. Like all right, so this idea of like having an influencer girlfriend is so bad. Why would you want someone to go on their Twitch stream and talk shit about the stuff that's happening to you? Like, I don't understand it. And like, also, the problem with all influencers is that they're inherently narcissistic. They have to care about themselves because if they didn't, they would not be influencers. They'd take pictures of themselves. Every influencer, 80 pictures on Instagram. Thing like that. I can't deal. No influencers. That is like. By the way, I think this is a little bit of a maybe too soon meme, but I have 2 rules, okay? No drinking, no dating influencers. Pretty sure that's why I got through the Twitch Me Too shit a couple months ago. Pretty sure that's why I wasn't on a list. Is because those are my rules. Like I date normal people that are acclimated to society and have jobs, and I don't, get girls drunk and take them back to places. Like, wow, amazing. Like,
I was very happy when all that happened that I didn't do any like dating or hooking up at TwitchCon.
You had to like look back into your life, right? Because everyone did. Like it was not just because like Zizaran and I are like these like lecherous people, but like everyone looked. Like I looked back at my life, I'm like, man, did I fuck up? Like, was I ever in a situation where like that might have happened? And like that was a spooky time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was actually we can talk about that too. So I remember this was on a one of the Scuff podcasts where we talked about this. This was actually before it all happened, I think, or maybe right around when it was happening. Because I had just shared a hotel room with with Nuts and Nano, and also at another convention with Pause, as well. And I was actually surprised because when I talked about this on the podcast, they were like, "Weren't you scared of like sharing a room with a girl?" Because every other streamer on the podcast was, and I hadn't even thought about it. I hadn't even crossed my mind.
That was before the fiasco, though.
Yes.
That was before everything went down.
Yes.
And
But-
look, like I think that was enormously good for the gaming industry, by the way. Just like a really
Yes.
quick caveat, like
Yes.
that happening actually moved us forward. So
Yeah, and I hadn't even thought about it, but I was actually like kind of relieved when all of those girls reached out to me and was like, "By the way, you don't have to worry. You're amazing. Like you're great." Like, so like that was kind of reassuring because I remember there was a tweet saying something like, "Innocent guys don't have to worry about this," and I was like, I don't know, like I haven't touched anyone. I was still kind of worried. Like obviously, like these were all my friends and stuff, so it wasn't that much of a worry still.
I've been very diligent about that, like really trying to take care of people. I think the key thing you can do is like both for women and men, especially these conventions like TwitchCon, just don't get blasted.
Yeah,
like that's like 99% of all of it is like if you just don't get blasted, just make informed decisions because you're drunk as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I don't drink anymore. I've actually given up alcohol.
Really?
Yeah, for like a year and a half now. Not because I want to stop drinking alcohol, but because after one drink now I get a hangover because I drink so little water. I drink that one bottle of water a week. So
what?
Like when I drink alcohol, it just fucks me. Like it ruins me.
What sustains you? Like the blood of the enemies you kill in Path of Exile?
Yeah, pretty
like,
much. Pretty much. Yeah. I'm trying to drink more now, but I'm pretty sure I'm like
I drink a gallon of water a day.
I think I'm like 60% Coke at this point.
That is suicidal.
Yeah.
That's what that is. You're gonna die.
So I'm trying to be healthier, but it's very, very hard. Like, to be fair, like a lot of people have like different addictions, right? You know, like gambling or like drugs or alcohol. Like I'm addicted to sugar for sure, like 100%. It's hard to kick. Hard to kick.
I like cookies. Yeah, I have like a dessert after every meal. I do like a bunch of stuff. I do intermittent fasting. So like I'll eat on a 4-hour period from 6 p.m. to 6 to 10 p.m. But I'll always have to have like a cookie afterwards. I'll eat a big salad, like everything healthy. But I fucking love cookies. So yeah, everyone has kryptonite. I respect that.
Yeah.
I mean, if your kryptonite is soda, it's not the worst thing, but it's pretty.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Like,
I'm working on it.
You could be smoking.
Well, I think the problem for me personally is I've kicked Coke before. Like I've like I had like 2 years and another period like 5 years, right? I didn't drink soda, didn't drink any sugary drink at all. The problem is that it takes me like a week or two to kick it, and I'm grumpy, I'm annoying, I'm definitely in a worse place, and more importantly, I could not be entertaining on my Twitch stream for those 2 weeks.
Yeah, that is important. There's also there's a Zen Buddhist concept that every vice has to manifest itself within another vice. So like you may kick soda completely and be like this pure human being, but now you're like eating people at midnight. You know, like you've got some other terrible thing that manifests.
I definitely agree with that because I have a big gambling addiction, and I take that out in Path of Exile.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm like I'm only up money on gambling, but that's because like I stopped when I was up, and then I've started
Can you gamble in Ireland? Is that legal?
Well, I mean, yeah, you can online gamble like PokerStars and shit.
I say that because it's not as easy to do in America.
Yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
you can do casinos and stuff in America. There's no casinos here.
And you can, but it's in the form of like Native American reservations where they like they try really hard to like put them out of the way.
Right.
Unless you're in Nevada, like then it's everywhere.
And I have like because of that, I put very strict rules on myself when I'm at casinos. Because I am so aware of like how easy it is for me to gamble and how scary it is, and I always feel like
dude, I had no idea that.
I carry real cash because of that, because I feel like debit cards, credit cards, they're so scary. I always I have like people call it my boomer wallet. I don't know if you have my stream open, like this is my wallet, And it's like fat. I always carry cash. I don't like cards because it doesn't feel like real money. Whereas like if you're physically paying somebody £20, you feel like you're paying them
Dude,
£20.
I actually do respect that though, because like, man, that feel of having like, as dumb as this is, because if you get mugged, like it's over. But like, if you have like $1,000 in your wallet for what, even if you have like, even if you're a millionaire, you just feel like such a fucking baller. You're just like,
Yeah.
oh, what can I do with this? Like, oh, then hello,
Yeah.
shopkeep. I would like your entire store. Yes, oh, plebeian. Yes, you peasant. Yes, serve me. I would like one of every product you have. Like, you just feel so tough. Like, oh my God. Yeah, it's amazing.
But
I have like
it just doesn't feel like
a,
real money though with cards.
I totally agree. I keep $1,000 cash in my house at all times, just like just for whatever. It's like it comes up a lot, and like it's just it just feels so powerful. Yeah, doesn't matter what my net worth is. Doesn't matter anything. Like it's like that $1,000 in cash in the house. It's just great. It's like
Part of the reason why I started doing it as well is I was in Oslo buying magic cards once, and I knew that I had money on my account. And I went to buy like 2 magic boosters or 3 magic boosters, and my cards had declined. And it was like the worst feeling in the world. I've had this happen twice. I had this happen one time when buying groceries as well, and I had to go back and put everything back, like every single grocery. And it's like the worst feeling in the world. And since then, I made sure that I have like a lot of money in my wallet at all times, like enough to cover whatever I was going to be doing, because it's such a bad feeling.
Okay.
So I have PTSD even now. Like I have like 3 different cards now just because of this, like just in case. But like I always try to use cash when I can.
Can I take a leak real quick?
Yeah, sure. I wasn't expecting this to like last this long, but it's been
Can we
fucking.
keep going?
Yes, we can keep going.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do the same thing. I'll be right back.
All right. Okay.
Hope everyone is enjoying it and having fun. I'm enjoying it a lot. It's a very, very interesting talk. This is one I did. Let's see. Very good, love it. Pog. Think we're going for length record here? Yes. Usually only do like usually under 2 hours. Oh, things come back.
Okay.
You're back. Awesome.
Yeah, I just peed for like 3 straight minutes. It was great.
Yeah, Sam. It was.
The older you get, the better peeing feels.
Yeah, so 54. I'm looking forward to it.
It's amazing. It's like it's a life-changing experience every time you pee. It's incredible. This is like the one thing to look forward to when you get older. Is like it's just great. It's great to pee.
Yeah, no, it's I think you're gonna enjoy this question. I don't know, it could be a double-edged sword, but I think you'll enjoy it. Boron20 is asking, why is your favorite Dungeons and Dragons moment?
Holy shit! I have an answer. I have a direct answer actually to this question.
Oh,
Okay, It requires some setup though.
Okay.
Back in my high school, I was in a program. Some super OG people might remember this program. It's called the Gateway Program. And the Gateway Program was a way that you could actually earn credits playing D&D. Like there was a teacher and he had a D&D accredited course that literally was like a course where you had D&D. And we played in the course for 4 years from my I actually got kicked out of high school. So 3 years.
Wow.
I got kicked out of high school for fighting. Not fights I won. Just fighting in general. And I had to go
Wow.
I had to go to private school.
I didn't even know they had D&D like 40 years ago.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they had D&D like 100 years ago, dude. Like there's like elves and shit. Like Tolkien shit. That was a long time ago. But like a long time ago. Okay. So, how cool is that you could actually get so because this was an accredited class, right? The professor was super disco serious about D&D. He had a character sheet for every NPC he had in the game. Now, if anybody plays D&D to understand how hardcore that is, it means he statted and put items on every NPC in the game. And because of that meant like even a random orc that you find. So because of that, all the people that had gone through his D&D classes, they had like some of his like NPCs would have like, just like they're fully geared, right? Like they're players because they have like all the items they've gotten. It's totally nuts. So, I had brought a character into that campaign from a campaign called Greyhawk. Greyhawk was a campaign where you actually tracked your character, and your character existed in the multiverse of Greyhawk across. It's what Pathfinder is now, where if you have a Pathfinder character, you have a number attached to it. You can go to any Pathfinder campaign in theory and play that character, and like a registered GM can load it up. And Greyhawk was that same premise. And so I had, by the end of the 3-year period, I had a legit level 22 wizard, like Doctor Strange, shopping carts of magical items, just crazy shit. Like we had defeated Lolth, the spider god, in the Greyhawk universe. We had done all this fucking crazy shit, and we got to a point where we were completely screwed. So we had, I think, like in the party was like an 18th level clerk, an Oriental Adventures class called a Kenzai, which some super nerds will know, a fighter, and like something else I can't remember, and my wizard, who's the highest level. And the short of this was we were gonna die. We had gotten ourselves into a situation where we were in a camp that was surrounded by like 500 or like realistically it was like 200 statted NPCs that were trolls, goblins, orcs that were all part of this like invasion force that was like taking over a large part of the Greyhawk world.
Wow.
And what I had done was I had used an item called a Cube of Force, which creates like a square around our party. And the trolls are trying to break down the Cube of Force. And so to do that, they're stacking rocks on top of it. So eventually what's going to happen is the rocks are going to break through the Cube of Force. The weight is going to be sufficient that it can't hold it, and we're going to die. The whole party's going to die. There doesn't seem to be anything that we can do. We can't teleport. We're out of abilities. So I'm like going through my list of magical items, and I come across an item that's called Rod of Power. And this is not the edition that you and I played, which is 5e. This is second edition when artifacts are a lot scarier. And so the Rod of Power has a pretty specific function that if you like infuse this and then you break it, it's going to create an effect. So we had our cleric start a campfire inside the Cube of Force. And I look straight at the DM and I say, I break the Rod of Power over my knee and I throw it into the campfire. And like this professor just stares at us for a second. He takes his hand like this, and he just, all of the character sheets, the stack of 200 character sheets he has for his trolls and his goblins, his orcs, everything, just wipes it into the trash. Because what happened was the equivalent of a tactical nuke in the Greyhawk world. Everyone in our party died. Every single person in that camp died. Every NPC that he statted died. hundreds and hundreds of hours of work. I lost my level 22 wizard 100%. He's dead. He's vaporized, right? It was a literal tactical nuke, and it was so damaging that other parties in the Greyhawk world had to deal with it. They had they had to actually record this as an event, and the entire in that entire section of Greyhawk was cratered. It was over. We simultaneously killed the entire party and hundreds and hundreds of NPCs that were statted and had full items.
Wow.
That is the coolest D&D story I have.
That's pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that. We told that story before?
Not in its entirety, just aspects
Wow.
of it. That was the whole thing. Yeah, it was insane.
That was very, very cool. I thought it would be like something through like one of our campaigns or something, but that's the story was way better than anything we did. That was badass.
It was years of work that came up to it, and it was so sad to lose that character too.
Yeah.
It was awful. Yeah, but it was totally worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you're how many campaigns are you in right now? Is it just the one with Arcadum?
I'm in one with Arcadum, Moon, Soda, Vigor's Awful Gator, and Surefour. That one, it's called Terran Vale. That's the only campaign I'm in right now. Yeah. I'm joining a campaign that I'm really excited about. It's called Callus Row. And that is going to be a campaign on Fridays with it's set in the Shadowrun universe.
Oh, that's
where
awesome.
yeah, which is like basically the Shadowrun universe is 50 years from now as technology currently sits, but magic has returned to the world. So magic is a new thing in the world as of 50 years ago. Orcs, goblins, elves woke up, started to like pop out, and like shit's getting crazy. There's people with magical affinity, don't know what there is, and because this is 50 years in the future, as you can imagine, corporations have taken over everything, right? They're more powerful than governments. My character is actually the CEO of a corporation. So it's a corporation called Talaris, which is a corporation that's centered around magical activity and researching what magic is doing to the new world.
Wow. That sounds really fun.
And the whole thing is done through VR chat. So it is 160 players. Everybody there's this group of people who have made these full-blown VR chat maps that are playable. They have shops. They have fucking they have levels to them. There's transportation systems. There's weapons. Everything is built into VR chat, and it's a virtual experience that is going to be streamed live by dozens and dozens of streamers while simultaneously played through this entire thing.
But this isn't something like being DM'd then, right?
Arcadum is the DM.
And is there going to be 160 people at the same time?
It is DM'd in the sense that it's like a living world, and Arcadum is like traveling around the world, creating events when requested or things like that. Like a lot of it will just be like role playing. But there are also other assistant DMs that are joining that are going to be relevant because there's maps. So there's like a corporate map where all the corporate guys are, and then there's like a row map where like all the street people are, and like a wasteland where there's all these people out there. And there's going to be
this is more similar to LARPing.
Yeah, it's like that type of deal, but it's like LARPing with a rule set.
That's so cool.
It's fucking awesome. Yeah, and they were so stupid to give me a fucking CEO role in a corporation. Because I am going to dominate that shit unless everyone tries to kill me. Except I built a character, but everyone can't kill. So it's great. I'm going to take over that shit. I already have board meetings with we have a group chat for the whole thing because I have actual employees right in the game. I have people that work for Talaris. We have board meetings. We have fucking we have TPS reports. Oh, you have everything. It's great. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be fantastic.
Wow. Oh, okay, you need to stop. You're making me miss D&D too much. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's insane. Wow.
It's gonna be good. Yeah, it starts later this month.
Wow, that's so cool. I definitely want to keep an eye out for that. That's awesome. Eric is asking, for your agency, is there a minimum size creator your agency works with? Also, have you ever planned or would you work with Spanish-speaking streamers living in America?
I think that there's a good vertical for Spanish and English-speaking broadcasters right now. Interestingly enough, if you look at the top 50 broadcasters in the past 2 years, the highest growth is in second language categories, particularly Spanish, Portuguese, and German. So right now in the top 10, 4 of those broadcasters are actually second language primarily, and 2 other ones, so 6, are use a second language on stream, which is pretty crazy. I mean, there's a really big potential for that because you can potentially capture audiences that are atypical in their involvement. So I think that's that answer there. As for like the minimum level of creators that we work with, we are very exclusive in the people we choose, and it's not worth applying for us as an agency. Particularly like we usually are really only invite only, and there is you have no shot. I don't say that, like, I'm just saying that because I'm trying to avoid any kind of like idea otherwise, because I honestly, like, hand to God, I get over 150 messages a week at least that are like, can you teach me how to be a better streamer? Can you help me grow my content? Can you help me do, like I can't do it. Like business consulting, everything. Like, literally, I can't even do paid requests. I have so much I'm doing, right? I have 2 full-time jobs, so I want to keep people away from thinking like that. Like, people like, oh, like Devin seems cool, like I want to work with him on an agency level. Like I can't do it. Just can't do it. My best thing I can do is I can provide resources that will help you.
Yeah, your YouTube's really great. I actually watched pretty much all of your videos, so
Thank you, man.
it's very good stuff.
Put a lot of work into it.
It shows, and it's paying off.
Yeah, it's doing great. We're really trying to get that 100K.
Yeah, you're getting pretty close, right?
Getting very close. I think we're at oh Jesus, I think we're getting there. I think we're at like 91. My goal was to hit 10,000 by the end of the year. So hitting 100K by the end of the year is the new goal.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah. So I think we're getting there. Like 91.5 right now. So we need
you got this. You got this for sure.
You think so? We have 30. Let's see, 30 plus 15. So we have 45 days to hit 100.
Just could have, like, what about getting involved in some like big scandals or something?
Like the DMCA one was
true. That probably helped a lot. Yeah,
I've done too many videos on it, so I have to be really careful to not be like pigeonholed as like the Twitch guy. I really don't want to do that. I don't want to be like the guy that's like, this is the guy when Twitch stuff, because like I don't have enough respect for this platform to be that guy. I want to be a business person, right? Like so I've gone a little bit too hard on the last like 5 videos on the DMCA issue. It's a really important issue. Like, I think everybody should know. Yeah. But just like in general, like I'm gonna be like dialing it back. And so like the next several videos will not have the viewership that these have, because like drama bleeds
out very fast.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Schwiggity is asking, Devin, what is the best way to network with people, specifically within the esports scene? Things are pretty tight knit, and I found it hard to do that.
Okay. Depends on what your outcome is. But since it's a general question, I'll give a general answer. I really like the idea of it's called 555. Okay. So this is an executive concept. I think this is a Peter Drucker concept. It's a really famous executive. The idea is, actually, let's make it even more simple. Reach out to 5 people every day. So that's all it is. It's 5 DMs, 5 emails, 5 messages, 5 check-ins with professionals. You don't have an outcome. You're not trying to get something from them. Hey, how's it going? Haven't talked to you in a while. Hey, I saw this piece of content from you. This is interesting. Hey, I just want to check in. This is something that you, Zizaran, could speak about as well, because you are incredibly good at this. Zizaran is a networker to such an amazing degree that it almost makes people ass mad. I say me, because he messages people all the time, and it's like because he genuinely like makes it a point to get out there and like message people. And I'm just giving you shit. I love when he messaged me. But like, yeah, this is the thing. So like I would say, if you are able to message a certain number of people every day, it might be with like a question. It might, like, networking is literally just a numbers game. Not everybody is going to respond to you. In fact, most people won't. But the thing that you need to do is you need to just hit it out. It's like getting the greatest job in the world. You could, if you apply 1,000 times, so what? Like a lot of people don't look at it this way. But if like the outcome is you only need to strike once. You only have to hit one home run, right? So if you want to get into the esports industry and work for someone, what, have you emailed every esports team? Have you emailed every manager in every esports team and asked them questions, and not come from a place of like, hi, I want a job, but come from a place of like, hey, I love what you do. I saw your video this one time that you posted about when you talked about like how managing an esports team works, and I'd love to learn more about it. Like I know like you're probably a busy guy. You have like 30 minutes, and maybe like 20 people reject you, 50 people reject you, 75 people reject you. The one that gets you, you're in, right?
Yep.
Like the networking is literally just a numbers game, and you just do this over and over and over again. And the key word of that 5x5 rule is you get consistent. Just consistently do it. Like make sure you do it every single day. Every single day, you reach out to some people. Every single day, keep trying. That's the answer. It's not a special thing. A lot of people. Sorry, one last thought, like real quick, like because I'm talking. Zizaran actually probably knows even as much, if not more, than I do about this. But it's a consistency thing. It's just a lot of people think it's like, oh, I'm the type of person that is worthy of being networked with or whatever. It's not that. It's just it's literally just a consistency thing with a numbers game. It'll pay off. It'll pay off.
Yeah, but I feel like something that's hard for a lot of people, and I see a lot of people doing like bad networking as well, and networking in a lot of ways can come off as, no, it's not the word repulsive. There's another word, repellent. Like it can push people away, and it can also very easily come off as leeching. Like for a lot of people, like I've even seen like a lot of streamers on the receiving end are always worried, like, well, when somebody approaches me, how do I know if they genuinely want to make me be friends with me, or if they're just like trying to like grow, right?
This is one of
that's one of the hardest issues.
Yeah. I was talking to a girl recently. Right. And she was like, I can't believe how cautious you are. Because I'm like fucking like just like my radar's on, right? Like I'm literally just like, does she want money? Wait, just go through the list, right? Like, but doesn't understand that like that is like an aspect of someone like you or I that's like so like particularly with me, I think, but with you also, anybody with resources or anything like that. It's very difficult because like I am getting hundreds of requests per day, and the frustrating thing is like everybody fucking wants something and they don't want to give me anything, which is like,
that's
it's okay.
What I was about
like
to say.
Yeah, like that's there's no transaction. It's just, can I have, I'm okay. And it's so like, yeah, there is a word for it. I'm not sure I can find it either. But like
I have the word for it. The important thing is to make sure that you're also adding value to their life. Like,
yes, that's the takeaway. But like for someone like me, it's exhausting, man. Every day I want to be a bigger streamer. I want to be the next ninja. Help me get there. Literally, people send me messages like, yo, you will regret not investing in me. People ask me for straight up money. They just ask me for like, hey, I want $5,000 to start my stream, to start my YouTube, to start my brand, to start the small business, whatever. Like, no equity. I just want money. Just give me money or you'll be sorry. I get so many, just dozens and dozens and dozens of emails and DMs and everything. And then people are like, wow, that guy's an asshole. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. It's like, no, dude. It's like people want so much from me, right? When I'm already here, not like, I don't run this stream for money. I don't ask for subs. I don't have any incentives. I'm not going to shave my head for 1,000 subs. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I'm just here because I'm trying to provide value. But despite that, there's so much of this just like energy that's like, I want to take from you, and it's so selfish, and like it's really one of the most difficult things I have to deal with. Yeah, by far.
One of the number one things I live by is that I'd want, with anyone I've had a dealing with, whether it's be like friendly or business, I want like everyone to be like happy with like every transaction I've been in, for the most part. Like that's what I aim for as much as possible, and that helps a lot.
So you're trying to add value to every transaction. That's
with anything I do, yeah. Whether it's a business transaction, like for example, like as a quick example, right? I remember when I started streaming, I had one emote artist, and she charged, I think it was like $80 or $110 per emote. It was like fairly expensive, and I was new as a streamer, but I was just paying it. Even though that was pretty hard for me, but it took like sometimes like 2 to 6 weeks, sometimes even like 8 to 10 weeks for me to get an emote. And it was very, very long. Sometimes like the person would just forget about it and stuff. And then eventually I changed emote artist, and the new emote artist, she was just charging $5 per emote, and then $8 if you wanted them done quickly. That was like a speed emote, and then she would finish the emotes within 2 hours. And I started paying her like $20 or $30 instead, because I felt like that was fair. Her like work was really good. Like I started overpaying her, even though I didn't need to, because well, first of all, like I've seen so many streamers like treat artists like really shitty. Like I hate seeing it. I hate like seeing like Twitch streamers like screw over artists or screw over people in general. There's so much of it. There's so many entitled streamers. So I was just paying her more. 100%. And then I feel like if you treat people well, and same with like the people I work with for like, you know, like my YouTube editor and stuff, like I feel like if you treat people well, like it's gonna come back to you. Like it's gonna come back to you tenfold even. Like
Can I
because
tell you?
people are gonna work harder for you as well.
Yeah, can I tell you like a story about this? I think you'll get a lot of value out of
Yeah.
it. Like yeah. So I was talking to a really fucking high powered executive. Okay, so like actually I think I could just tell you who it is. This dude works directly under Jeff Bezos.
Mhm.
So it's not my friend who works. It was the guy. It was his boss.
Mhm.
So and like I was in a crazy in a crazy world. I just was at a fucking 4th of July party with this guy. And he and so like whenever I get in front, like if I ever get lucky enough to get in front of, so like Ethan, like my friend Ethan Evans, he was the guy that ran Twitch Prime for Amazon. Basically Twitch is most of Twitch. He had like an 800 person team, and he's one of my really good friends. He just recently retired from Amazon after 15 years of being there, and now he's exploring the world. So I don't even know where the hell he is, but he'll be back at some. We've done tons of shows together, like hours and hours of stuff. And he introduced me to his boss. At this 4th of July party. And like, so now I'm in front of a guy who has a team of like, how big is his team? 200,000 people, right?
Wow.
Like, what can I ask this guy, right? So like, I just like, I'm there and I'm like, dude, like, what is like, out of all the stuff that you've done, like, what's like the most useful thing you've done in business? Like what's like one of the most useful things that you've done in business that you think is like the most effective force multiplier for like what you're doing?
Mhm.
And he said, and I'll never forget this, I always overpay. He said he said usually if you're a business or you're a client and you pay 20% on top of a service, right? Just pay it. Don't say anything to say like, hey, you did a good job. I'm gonna like the price of it was like what, $300. I'm gonna up it by $350. What that for you in the long run, that's a very small thing. For them, it's massive because no other clientele do that, and it's a force multiplier on top of it. And people will remember you. And he said, what I've noticed is like if we overpay a vendor, right? Like we have like a business, and I pay them 20% more. Here's the real takeaway from this that I think is so cool. There's human beings have like a sort of radar that's like of transactional value. If one person feels like you provided way more value than they did, they will feel indebted to you in a way that they will come back and over deliver. And he said that there's a lot of times where he's put 20% extra in, and that company over the following years has given him hundreds of percent back because they keep their initial impression, their mindset was like, oh fuck, like I gotta over deliver. This guy's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that's a really, really good thing. It's like, and I do that too. Like if I have an artist, like I will. This is another thing that a lot of streamers fuck up, and a lot of people fuck up in general. But always agree on a price, right?
Yeah.
Like okay, so like that's what, like how many problems do we have with that? Like if you looked at like what Project Melody's dealing with right now is like with her model, where like it wasn't like clearly communicated like what the terms of that were, right? Always agree on a price. Always have that understanding. But like if we agree on a price, like yeah, it's gonna be $50. Okay, great. And like you know what? I really appreciate this. Here's 75. Like they'll be like, fuck, like this is like that's like awesome. They'll remember that, and then they'll be there for you. Like that person will be there for you in the future.
Yep. 100% agree.
Yeah.
Could not agree more. And there's so many interesting questions. Like I don't know, like we're not gonna get through all of them for sure. I usually do these, like I keep these under 2 hours, but we'll go over, like we're already at 2 hours, by the way. We're at 2:20. We'll keep
it's
going.
up to you. I have a lot of endurance, Zizaran.
Me too, usually.
Especially for you.
Oh, that's just sweet, dude. Honestly, you're one of my best friends. So it's an honor to have you here, dude.
Dude, this is, by the way, like the easiest way for me to interact with people is like that's why I literally started the deep dive thing of like bringing people on to talk about, just because, which I should do for you too.
Yeah,
it's sort of a reverse of this in a way. I did that because I was like, man, fuck, I just want to talk to people, you know, like I want to talk to my friends. Yeah. So
yeah, that's why I started doing the AMAs. And like people ahead of the time will ask like the AMA, they're like, who is this person? I'm like, well, that's why you should watch it. You get to like meet and learn more about people. Like that's why I love doing this. It's like so cool. And I usually only do Pee-wee people. You're like the first non-Pee-wee player, basically. Well, you are a Pee-wee player.
I'm a Pee-wee player. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm a real Pee-wee player, by the way.
You haven't
played hardcore.
Yeah.
That's why I'm allowed on Zizaran's stream. I play hardcore exclusively. I play hardcore trade. I have played SSF, but I play hardcore trade exclusively. I'm not a. I don't. I've never rolled a character on softcore. I never will. I'm not. I'm not a baby. Okay, I'm not a tiny baby person who plays on softcore. Thank
So
you.
toxic.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I thought for toxic you mean true. Yeah. Got
Oof.
it. Okay. Yeah.
I actually disagree,
Mhm.
but
Yes, I know. Yeah, I don't disagree. Tiny baby people. Yeah.
but we
Yeah.
we have more great
How's it
questions.
feel?
This is by
Throwing portals at a boss till you kill it. Have fun. Yeah. Okay. I'm
Oh.
sorry. Yeah. Go on. Okay. Yeah, let's go.
Usmans is asking, what has been your most financially rewarding endeavor?
Holy shit. Hmm. Okay.
I need to eat a quick snack or I'm gonna pass out.
Should I answer or wait?
Yeah, go answer.
Okay. Really good questions, guys. This is actually super insane. Yeah, that's right. 54-year-old beats PoE. I saw in Ziz's chat. That's right. Okay, I'm a grandpa and I can play hardcore. You motherfuckers can't even fucking play softcore and you're like 20 years old. You can't play hardcore, you're 20 years old. Okay, I'm a grandpa and I can kill Uber Edziri. I'm a grandpa, I can kill Shaper. What is your excuse? Don't have one. Okay? Portal, Rush, Death. Yeah, Zizaran thinks I'm answering a question. I'm just using it to talk to shit. Talk shit to softcore players. Fuck you guys, okay? Okay. All right. Was it?
I'm still
Okay.
here.
Oh, what? No, hey, where's it going? I was saying everybody should subscribe to youtube.com/Zizaran, twitch.tv/Zizaran, twitter.com/Zizaran. The best Zizaran ever.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I was totally talking about your question.
I didn't leave. I have snacks next to me for like lack of movement.
Why didn't you tell me? I thought you left.
No.
Oh, God. Okay. All right. Well, just ignore the last 2 minutes then. I was complimenting softcore players on their skill in the game of Path of Exile. Very high skill.
I haven't eaten today, so I was like, I need to eat something, and I have like emergency snacks next to me, so I don't have to leave or move.
What are you eat? What are you eating?
It's like a naked blueberry muffin. It's like a naked bar.
Why is it naked?
I don't know why it's called naked.
Aren't all foods naked?
No.
Does it have little pants on it?
It's like it's dates, cashews, raisins, and blueberries.
Oh, it's like a Zoomer snack.
Sure.
Okay. Got it. It's a Zoomer snack. Got it. Okay, it's a brand. Yeah. It's like what? Do you have like? You have to take off its little pair of pants before you eat it. Like a muffin in a way does have a pair of pants. Have you ever thought about that?
Wow.
A muffin has a pair of pants. It's fucking crazy.
Hmm.
Think about it. Yeah.
Get back to the question,
Okay.
Devin. Damn it.
All right. Okay. All right. So, this is something that we don't want to care about my muffin pants. I want to care about my financial ventures. Okay. This is something that I think a lot of people sleep on in this day and age because back in my day, okay, there was a lot of different ways to make money. Now the cool way to make money is you're like a content creator or something. But holy shit, for the most part, unless you're a crazy person like Zizaran and you're like streaming like 30 hours a minute, like for like a year, like he streams like 30 hours, like then goes to bed for like 4 hours, shoots 30 hours. That's like a crazy life, right? Like content creator, like you look at the jobs in America. The number one most desired job in America right now is to be a YouTuber across all age groups.
Wow.
Okay. It started from like 9 to 15 and then it's just gone up from there. Now it's the most desired. So, that's terrifying to me because being a content creator for the most part blows. It's extremely hard work. Very few people are going to succeed at the level that like most people do. Even if you do, then you kind of have to contend with the idea that you may be doing something that you love that becomes a job and is a profession and thus affects the way that you interact with it and that you love it. And there are some really rare cases like Zizaran where they truly love the thing, but and they can kind of like parse with that. But understanding how rare it is relevant because I think one of the best things that you can do and set out to do is start a company and sell it. And this by far has been the I don't really want to say what we sold CLG for. You can Google it if you really want to. But it's a good number. And, we sold it to one of the most prestigious companies in the world, Madison Square Garden, publicly traded company. Did very well. The game plan is basically this, okay? So you're an entrepreneur you have an idea, or you want to be part of something. I've always done partnerships with people, so I don't like to be the sole dude. I want to like run something 50-50 with someone. So with George, I ran it 50-50. My current business partner Matt, 50-50. I started a business from the ground up. You hire people for it, and eventually your intent after 3 to 5 years is to sell it. And you sell the company for a large amount. You might stick with it for like a year afterwards. There's some kind of degree.
Mhm.
And I think this is, so if I look at like my financial success over the course of my life, for many people, it's like a sort of like climbing a mountain. Like you're hopefully well, actually, honestly, if I want to be totally realistic, for many people, it's like walking in a straight line or walking downhill if you're in America, because the average person is $40,000 in credit card debt. So,
Wow.
or 4,000, yeah,
Jesus.
40,000 in student loans, 4,000 in credit card debt. So but the way that I look at earning income is a staircase type scenario. So like I will jump up to a new level and jump up to a new level every time I sell an asset or company. And then the other thing that I think is really important is multiple income streams. I have 7 income streams right now, which I don't say to impress on you, but to impress upon you, to say that like being properly diversified is very important. So
Yeah.
selling CLG was the biggest financial moment of my life, and before that, it was selling my previous marketing company. And then I think the largest financial moment of my life, 100%, will be selling this company. That will be like the sort of like equinox, like fucking equinox moment, like that'll be it.
That makes a lot
Selling
of sense.
companies is great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
it's great.
I'm terrified for streamers. Like every time I talk to a streamer, and I've asked so many of my friends this, I'm like, "Do you have a pension fund? Like I think in America you call it 401k or something, or like what do you do when you get banned, or what do you do when like your channel dies?"
Yeah.
And streamers just aren't diversified. It's it's insane, and the amount that are like 100% reliant on Twitch, it's so scary. It terrifies me. Like,
What's really crazy too, like I think this is a big one. When you start streaming, you literally hit, there are gonna be so many people who get mad at me for this, but you literally hit a pause button on skills. And like, okay, so like if you stream from 20 years old to 28, you're just a 28-year-old that's 20 years old. You don't bring anything back into the world that is actually like a useful skill. You can't fix the toilet. You can't like, and like be like, well, I can set up OBS. Like nobody cares about that. Like,
sure, but that depends though. Like I would disagree for me at least.
Why?
There's so many things, like there's so many like other things that you could get jobs at. For example, Twitch, a lot of like community manager kind of positions, a lot of networking.
Community management is a total meme. There's 500 people that apply to those jobs every single, like that's a very low level position, right? Like being a community manager for the platform that you, okay, like yeah, community manager is like okay, so like that is a viable transition for a Twitch streamer. If you to transition to a community role, but that is like I don't know if that's like a viable career path for everyone, like or even like a realistic one. Yeah. So what I'm saying is like when I say a new skill, okay, what I mean is like a skill that somebody, because being a community manager, managing a community, in theory, anyone can do that. There are better people that manage communities than everyone, but there's no like very strong barrier to entry. Okay, if I can fix a fucking nuclear power plant reactor, that's a skill. Okay, there's not many people that can do that. If I can repair a brain, if I can do surgery on somebody, if I can do marketing, like digital media marketing, not like even that is like a meme to a lot of people, but like real marketing, like real digital media marketing, or if I can fix a car. There's just a million things. If I these are hard skills that like and I want to bring up like the reason why I'm talking like this is I saw this happen in esports, where we would have a player that would come in at like 20 years old. Average lifespan of a player in esports is very short. It's like 3 to 4 years. Nobody talks about it. They get to 24. They didn't go to college, and they have no their basic their option is like, I'm gonna go work for Riot Games, or hopefully if I can get a job there.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna go try to be a Twitch streamer. That's gonna kind of be kind of shaky. Or I have people that I had on our teams, LCS teams, that went to go work at gas stations because that was entry level shit. So it's like, imagine going forward in time 5 to 6 years and having no life skills. And that's so important because the skills you build early in your life have exponential value as your life goes on. And I have a whole talk about this. I have a whole talk about how gaining value earlier in your life and building yourself so that you're a more skilled and more professional person has that exponential and cumulative value. You're almost guaranteed to be very successful later on if you master those things early. So
I agree
losing that 5 years, it blows.
I agree with a lot of it, but I think there is value. Like there is things you can put on a resume by working hard and like growing up a fan base and stuff that would be of interest to some companies. Like I agree that you are definitely like at several disadvantages compared to a lot of things, but there is like for example, like I've been working with Shopify now, and they've just hired a StarCraft player to like help manage things. Like there are jobs there, like for example. And they're specifically looking for gamers in a lot of the things. So
I think these are very, very like outlier situations that the vast majority of people. Okay, so first of all, there's so many ways to statistically just dunk this argument. Okay,
sure, but
first of all, the number of total streamers that are top streamers is less than 5,000. That's super generous. Okay, like it's less than 5,000. There's 6.1 million broadcasters on the website. No one is going to care that you ran a 3-viewer stream for your dog and your mom.
Yes.
It's not going to be a skill set.
I agree.
For top Twitch streamers, there might be some minor transition into a briefly entry-level job. Who cares? Compared to me spending fucking 5 years trying to become the best media market executive there is.
100%.
Right, and like, and the skill, yeah, like, or any, but like,
I agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's such a it's just we look at the
raw
raw stats.
I think we mostly agree. I think the only thing I feel like your stance are a little bit too extreme. I think it feels like you're saying there's like no takeaway from this, like no skills. Where obviously like
basically, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I disagree with. Like you do learn a lot of like media related skills depending on how you operate your content and stuff. You do though. There is a takeaway. There's just less than what you could get in other ways.
Those skills are only applicable to the world at which those skills are in. So the skill of running OBS software is only useful if you need to run OBS.
Right, but I'm not talking about OBS software. I'm also talking about like things like editing. Yeah.
Very like editing, yeah. Okay, very few people actually edit that are Twitch streamers. Very few people. They have no editing skills. They usually hire an editor, or they have, or that's again if they're big enough to do it. You have to realize that all these people that you're talking about are already the top 1%. There is nobody that is like the vast majority of people on this platform have 0 viewers, or 5, or 3.
100%.
Yeah.
And I don't think that has much value. I'm saying like if you let's say the example I was thinking about, like let's say that you have a stream with like 2,000 viewers that for some reason dies.
It's a massive streamer. It's top 0.01%.
Yes, I know.
By the way. Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
You're right. You're right, and that's
so you're literally talking about less than a fraction of a percentage.
I am. Yes, I agree. In the majority of cases, it is completely useless.
Yeah,
I agree.
Okay,
then I don't think we have a disagreement.
Okay, well then, yeah, because if you want to say Hassan Abi has a viable transition to a political career, then I'm not going to disagree with you. But what is that saying really? The problem is that's like that. The problem is like that's giving hope to all the other people that need to know that this is useless. I don't want to do that.
That is fair.
Like
we do not disagree. I think.
Okay, I don't think so either. I think your issue is like if I have a like me saying absolutely 100% in all cases.
Yes.
Yeah, which of course we could always find exceptions to everything, right?
That's
Only
fair.
a Sith deals in absolutes, Zizaran.
I've seen some pictures of you. I think you are a Sith. I saw like the cape, some lightning, and everything. There's
That's why I say things in absolutes. Yes, I do. I've seen you with capes and lightning too, actually. In fact, I've seen exactly that.
Yeah. I had to with the Senate thing. I had to do that. Like there was no way. There was no way not to. But we'll do a fuck. I don't even know. I think this is going to be an answer you will refuse to answer. But Elron MD is asking, what alliance is Devin in?
Oh yeah, I can't answer that. I wish I could. Yeah, because okay, so like Eve, he's talking about Eve Online.
Yeah.
Eve Online is like my sanctum. Like, I don't talk about who I am. I don't talk about who I fly with. I'll tell you what I do in it.
There's another question for that. Yeah, Captain Kraft is asking, what do you do in Eve?
I'm a jump freighter pilot. So I do high-end dangerous logistics for war zones. Like if people can't get into a place, I go there and I make sure we get supplies, because in Eve, every item has localized storage. You can't just transport an item like on World of Warcraft. You log into a bank, go to another city, go to a bank, same stuff there. In Eve, every single thing is localized storage. Yep. So if Ziz knows, because he played a shitload of Eve, he's fucking god at that game. Actually, like became a trillionaire, I think, right?
Yeah, 1.3.
Unbelievable. Yeah, like the difficulty of what he did in the game is insane. It's hard to describe, especially at the time that he did it. fucking crazy. But
My
like,
friend
yeah,
had 8 or 9, 8
doing
something.
what?
He was Vader Crane. He was the main Titan creator.
Oh, yeah, of
He created
course.
like
Okay.
every Titan, every single Titan back then.
Yep.
Literally every.
Yeah. God damn, that's actually crazy. Yeah. Um, so I am a jump freighter logistics pilot. I fly in very dangerous zones to get supplies to people. And but I have 6 accounts. So I also have my top character, just to put it in perspective for people, has 180 million skill points,
Hmm.
I think. Which is an insane amount, right? And can fly everything from the best subcaps in the game to Avatar Titans at 5, like everything. Yeah. Right now, I'm a Wyvern pilot on that character. I fly a super carrier called a Wyvern, and I love it. It's so fun. And then my regular guy is so I play. If I'm in a PvP fight, I fly 2 things. And then I have a whole industry line. I have a whole my own corp dedicated to industry. It's underneath my alliance. And I have like 6 characters in it to do full-time industry. We build ships, and then I transport those ships with dangerous logistics to wartime zones.
I love that game. It's just so good.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah,
I can't play it though. Like I actually don't have enough
Nope.
time. It's
I respect it,
it's
dude.
not even
I
a game.
respect it.
It's not even a game.
Yeah,
It's just a life.
it's not. It's a lifestyle. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
my. I mean, I literally my thing that I do for fun when I'm not building businesses in real life is build a business in you.
Yep. That sounds true. Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's so different.
What do you mean?
It's so different to other games. It's
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, vastly different. It's such a it's what's missing now. It's the same thing with Path of Exile and why we play hardcore. It's like that feeling of risk versus reward.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
actually have you ever played DayZ?
Of course. Yeah.
I don't know why, but for me DayZ is the like I've been playing it like a few hours a night with a good friend of mine, Silva. It's actually one of my oldest friends, but I've been playing it a few hours at night, and it's the only game that gives me the exact same type of adrenaline as paintballing does.
Interesting.
It's just so cool. Like it's so different.
Why?
I don't know. It's like, maybe it's the sound of the shots and the realism, the fact that you're literally like I died 2 days ago, and it was literally I didn't even hear the shot. My screen just went black, and I was like, oh, I'm dead. Because I just sniped. And it's like when you hear somebody shooting at you, like the way like the clicks, like the clinks, like
Yeah.
some like weird sound. It's so cool. It's very it's so clunky as well. Like the game's like kind of shit. Like it's just very interesting experience.
Yeah. It's very yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's like Darkfall. Like Darkfall felt like kind of clunky. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Dark 100%
Same
best
type of
game I've
thing.
ever played. Like
Yeah, it's really crazy to hear you say that. It's nuts.
you know, and I love games like Rust and stuff too. But yeah, we have so many questions. Like literally, we are actually gonna have to do like a second DevinNash session at some point because this.
If the people want one, I don't know if I've made a good impression.
Well, currently I'm on page 3 out of 8 of questions.
Oh my god, are you serious?
Yeah.
How can that be?
Yeah. And like, cause I had a lot of questions as well, like follow ups and stuff, trying to make it a professional podcast. But like, there's just so many questions. So,
Jesus, that's awesome.
It's really cool. Tai Killer is asking, what are the 1 to 2 big differences between mid-sized streamers, someone that has 300 to 500 viewers, versus bigger streamers like 3 to 5K plus?
Okay, that's such a good question. But the context of it is differences in terms of what they do to be successful, or differences in terms of broadcasting personality.
Why not both?
Okay, because they're 2 very different answers. Okay, so the thing that stops a mid-level streamer from being a large broadcaster. So we have to understand, and again, we have to contextualize this because we have to understand when we say mid-level streamer, meaning 400 viewers. If you have 400 viewers on Twitch, you're already in the top 0.1%. That's really important to understand. Mm-hmm. So like we are contextualizing a very small amount of people. Okay. So the difference between a person who has 400 viewers and a person who has 1,000 viewers, for example, like that difference is predominantly forms of alternate exposure. So a person that has 400 or 500 viewers is almost always good enough to have 1,000. The difference is that they usually aren't. You'll usually look at a streamer like that, and they won't have like a YouTube channel. They won't have like a presence other places. They won't be updating their Instagram. They won't be like talking on Twitter. They won't be like collabing, that kind of stuff. They'll sort of have a very insular community, and that's usually almost 99% of the time the difference there, technically, right? the difference in broadcasting skill is typically I would, if I had to contextualize like all broadcasting skill, and the only real skill that matters in terms of broadcasting, it's improv. I think improv is everything, and I think like the most useful thing you can do as a content creator is take an improv class, straight up. The people that are at the highest echelons of Twitch are master improvers, every single one of them. Every single one of them is a master improver. Hassan, XQC, Soda, Moon, everybody. And the quality that I had as a broadcaster single-handedly went up in a massive degree by taking improv classes, and continues to as I study stand-up comedy, and I study because comedy is literally like the language of the soul that we can deliver to everybody. And Dave Chappelle has an amazing quote that he just said on SNL, which is like, "I can't tell you truth unless there's a punchline behind it." So like comedy has such a high value. So technically, it's really important to look at like people like what Pokimane, for example, is doing, right? Pokimane is active on all platforms, has a very active Instagram, has 3 YouTube channels, has a super big presence on Twitter, right? With two accounts that she updates. If you look at the people that are anomalies, they're acting like them because they're constantly updating social media platforms, and they're doing things to diversify. That's the big difference. Is like once you start getting into like the 1 to 2 to 3K range. Contrary to popular belief, you don't really need to be a person that needs to stream a lot. That's one of the very big misconceptions. For example, I stream way less than most full-time streamers and beat them in viewership. Way less, like 15 hours, right? Austin streams sometimes 9 hours a week, but he's very present on the platform. He's on other big streams. His presence can be felt places. It's very deliberate how he does that. So yeah, that's the really big difference. Like if you want to be like a 10 to 15K Andy, you need there's a Tim Ferriss concept that says you need to be in like the top 3 places that your viewership lives, right? Like and the way they should consume you in that way, so they're constantly reminded of you and it's imprinted on you.
It's pretty good advice. And 100%, like I used to stream a shit ton, but that was when Twitch was in a very, very different place. Like I've been streaming a lot less now.
Oh, it used to be amazing. Yeah, like putting in more hours, I think on Twitch was super valuable back when you were doing it. And nowadays, there is a cutoff point that at 6 hours, where basically after 6 hours, like you're not gonna get any gain at all until you go all the way back around to 24 hours. Then you get another boost.
Yeah.
And so I don't think there's a single streamer on the platform that should be streaming longer than 6 hours. Like I mean,
unless you're racing in PoE and you're forced to.
Well, there's that, but there's also like I'd say the people that just want to like literally farm just a shit ton of money, like Hassan and XQC, that are making thousands and tens of thousands of dollars an hour. Like then there's like an excuse to do it then, right? Because just the ROI is so high.
Yeah. And I mean, there's for every rule, there's going to be exceptions. There's going to be like. Yeah.
Yep. I just think those are important to bring up. But yeah, that's what I think a lot about. Like, I'm the other thing too is like, I think you have to be aware of the sacrifices you want to make. So I know right now, if I sold out, I could probably be like around 5 to 8K viewers around there. I'm probably going higher. And by selling out, I mean like I do like meme content. I do like streamers I could beat in a fight tier list and stuff like that, and make it very entertaining, like really boisterous, and like really like put that on YouTube and like shout that out with the marketing that I know I could get there. But I'm happy at the numbers that I'm at right now because I'm covering content that I think is impactful, that adds value. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very, very like your audience is very interesting because like the amount of like streamers and stuff, like how do you say this? Like the power your audience has is very interesting as well. Like it's a very, very different audience.
Constantly surprises me. Yeah, that there are so many like executive level people in the audience, or people that are very actualized, or like that when we call for something like, hey, we need like something like this, like a bunch of people just come out and are like, yeah, like let's fucking do this. Like
yeah. It's very, very cool to see. It's like completely different than anyone else.
Yeah, and that's because I really work hard to create that, and I put a lot of bodies on the pyre to keep that fire burning.
Yeah, it's paying off. It's definitely paying off.
Thank you.
K Scott 13 is asking, do you have any tips for a non-endemic company getting involved in esports?
Too general of a question. Depends on how you mean get involved. Like get involved on a sponsor level, I assume, but I don't know. Unless it's I get more information.
Okay, we'll ask for a follow up there for more information. Cheese, or I know the answer to this, but I think it's gonna be really cool. So I want to ask you, and it's Cheesor. It's asking, why does he not stream Path of Exile? I'd watch him more if he had some gameplay running in the background.
To deal with the concepts that I deal with, I cannot be a guy that is playing a game while talking about it, especially in hardcore. And I think there's a really important thing that when you go to a stream, you should know what you're getting. This is a mistake that a lot of broadcasters make. Is like they one day you'll go and they're like kind of depressed playing Subnautica. The next day you'll go, they're super happy and really energetic and they're playing Call of Duty. The next day you go and they're like kind of all over the place, like playing like an indie game called Noita, and they're not really talking. This is a huge problem, right? Because what happens is you get this everybody likes consistency, and like to the viewer, they want it to they're not like consciously thinking about this, but there's like subconscious thing of like, okay, I'm kind of like, think about all the biggest streamers. Okay, let's use a couple. Like, let's look at Hassan Abi. You basically get the same experience every day you go to Hassan Abi stream, right? It's a political commentary, a little bit of watching reacts videos and YouTube videos, and then he plays a game at the end. Let's look at XQC. Okay, you get the same thing. Like, okay, wait, exact same energy. Tyler One, exact same energy, right? Trainwrecks, exact same energy, right? Like, look through every single larger broadcaster. Asmongold, exact same energy, right? Like, you can get like literally every single one, and you will Soda Poppin', same thing, right? Same type of energy. Like, you're basically getting an expectation. So, the effort that I have in not playing video games is creating a basic expectation for what you get when you come here. You get a high value stream that is informational, educational, but also entertaining concerning gaming news and industry. If I was sitting here jerking off and playing Path of Exile or playing EVE Online, because this is the endless debate that I have, is everyone's like, why are you freaking Path of Exile or EVE Online? It's like, okay, because you don't really want to watch that. You think you do, but you don't. What'll happen is you'll come in, you'll be like, oh my God, Devin's playing a game, this is amazing. And then I'm poop socking for 3 hours, grinding currency and like grinding exalts, right? And like people are like, wow, this is boring as fuck. Like because I'm not the type of broadcaster like Zizaran is that can make that interesting or that has that value add. My value add is in different places. So being conscious of that means that I want to create the same type of energy and type of show that you know what you get every time you come here. And because of that, I think that's what's been like the massive success that I've seen over the course of the last year since I came back to broadcasting, is because you get that you get what you get here. You order a hamburger, you get a hamburger. Now, you might not always want a hamburger. You might want a pizza. Great, there's other people to check out for pizza, but I'm the hamburger guy. Does that make sense?
100%. That's why I wanted you to talk about it, because I think it's a really good answer.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a great question.
Grog RL is asking, what is topping Devin Nash's bucket list right now?
In terms of what, professionally or personally?
Things you want to do before you die. Can be either.
Oh man.
Yeah. We only have the best questions here.
God, all these questions are so good. You're amazing at this. It's actually crazy.
Thanks.
I think I want to, because my answer would be I live every day the way I would live it, right? I don't have to work like if I don't want to. So I'm here because I want to be, but that's like kind of a cop-out answer. So I'll give you a little one. Like, I think I want to spend at least a month in an ashram, in like very deep meditation, not talk to anybody, and just chill and like really think about the world and really think about personal development. Like, I actually want to live in an ashram for a month.
Wow.
At least a month. Yeah, that would be something I want to do before I die, for sure.
Wow. I was expecting like more skydiving or something. I don't know.
I skydived with the army.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah, that was crazy. That was nuts. So like I've been so blessed to have like so many really cool just like some really cool opportunities in my life. Like, I've done some crazy shit already. But yeah, I would like to just like chill out, So Jack, like the CEO of Twitter, right? He goes on Vipassana retreats. CEO of Twitter and Square goes on like a 10-day, no talking, no cell phone Vipassana retreat. And I said retweet. It's a retreat, yeah. And I think it's like amazing that he does that. Like, I think it's really cool, and he has like a very very structured spiritual life, and like I'd like to do something like that. Yeah.
Very interesting. It's so different. Like I think that's why I like enjoy being friends with you, because we're very different people. Because to me that sounds like hell.
Oh, it is. Yeah, no, it's so, but that's why it's important. It's so difficult to sit with yourself for that long. Thinking about what you have to think about that, right? Like, or at least I think that's really productive to think about. It's like, wait, why does that sound like hell? Because being without a phone or a computer for like more than like a few hours sounds like a really difficult time. Like, then you got to really think about that as a human being. Because is that good? Is that something that is really normal? And that's like, when I start doing that kind of thinking, that bothers me. And that's why I would want to do something like that, is because I'd want to I'd want to really analyze that feeling and become more independent in terms of my reliance on things like that.
Now I have thoughts in my head and I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah. Look at your phone. You'll feel better.
Okay, good. I'm
Look
good.
at content. Look at Twitter.
Much better. Thank you. That fixed it.
Got it.
Oh, yeah. For sure. But yeah.
Yeah, like that's it. But real quick on that, like, right? Like, I've noticed myself feeling uncomfortable and feeling bad about something, and I like reach for the phone and like start scrolling.
Yeah.
And I think there needs to be like a pause mentally where you're like, wait, why is that the stimuli and why is that the response? And is that something that maybe you end up being okay with it, but like when I look at myself, I think that there's more to fulfillment than that. And I try to explore that. I just remember when the power went out and one of the esports teams I was running at one point, none of the guys had the internet or anything. And they just like laid on the floor. They were just a void. They were just waiting. They had nothing to do. They had nothing. It was just this utter terrible boredom that just like completely consumed them. And I think of our kids and like people that, they can't even think without an iPad. They can't even go a second. They can't appreciate anything. Like sometimes I'll just stop walking. I'll just look at a tree for a while, like 15 minutes. But just like, it'd be really interesting to look at a spider. Like cool. I think that's, yeah, they're really cool. Like, and they've been around for a long time, and they have a lot of stuff to teach us. But like we just ignore them because fuck, man, I gotta check out the new Chicks OnlyFans or whatever. Like I don't know. It's just it seems like there's an entire like what's the word, like skin deep like universe that's like being laid on top of the real one, and that bothers me. So I take the time to try to think about that.
Yeah, I don't know how I would react or how I would deal with that. That'd be hard, I think.
Yeah, superficial, better word. Yeah. Yeah, but you thinking like that, like, oh, I don't know how I'd react. That sounds like such a crazy thing. That should flag something, right?
What if it doesn't?
That should be like
what if it doesn't?
I mean, then that's your own. I can't like guide your. I don't know. Like I'm not. I don't hold the reins of like your spiritual journey. That's not. But like I would be concerned individually.
That makes sense. For sure. But yeah, no, I mean, like, everyone's different there, I think. Yeah, no, that was very deep. There's so many deep topics in this. I love it.
Yeah, it's good. I don't usually get a chance to talk about this stuff because people just care about memes. Yeah, so it's good.
Yeah, I've actually like been. There has been like meme questions here, like tits or ass and stuff as well. I've been like trying to limit those a little bit because they're not that interesting. But Chucky is asking, how does one reach Devin for off-stream industrial talk, and does that come with a fee, or is he too busy to talk to the plebs?
No, go away. I hate you. Next question. No, I can't. I get too much. I don't want. I literally. My consulting rate, ! consulting in my chat is $500 an hour. I can't do them. I do no paid consulting right now because I don't have time. Do not reach me offline. Do not contact me. Don't email me. Please go away. I get hundreds of requests a week. I can't stand it. I'm sorry. If just go to my YouTube, I'm live every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I respond to everything in my chat. Unless you're sending me Eveplex, okay?
Oh,
Then I'll answer the question. You
nice.
send me Eveplex, I'll answer the question. How about that?
Nice. So
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
ticket.
that's the
Um,
ticket.
we're about to hit 3 hours, which is where I want to cut this one off. But we'll end on one good question, and then we'll have to do a follow up because there's just so many pages of shit of like
Yeah,
really fucking good questions. So we're gonna
yeah.
end with
I'm
a.
honored that people think that they want. It's amazing that people like want this. Like fucking crazy. Yeah.
It's really cool. It's been a really good talk too. I hope everyone's enjoyed it. But we'll have the final question be from Fauzi. What is it you want to achieve for Twitch as a platform because of your influence?
Oh, it's such a. I don't think that I can change the platform as a whole. I don't think I'm going to be the guy, even though I have weekly meetings with senior partnerships and I talk to a lot of guys at Twitch, everything like that. I don't think I'm going to be the guy that changes Twitch as a platform. So what I want to do is I want to be first of all, I want to make people happy,
Mhm.
straight up. That is one of the most important and underestimated things. Maybe people say, "Oh, Devin Nash's content, doing all this business industry stuff, super high value." What Zizaran just plays Path of Exile, right? Like the way to look at it is that's the wrong way to look at it because what Zizaran does and what all broadcasters do that stream games is so fucking important. In 2020, there is so much loneliness, there's so much fear, there is so much negativity in the world. And that to go on to a stream and see your friend playing a game, hang out, talk together, and just be a part of a living community that's trying to stay positive, which I think one of the things I appreciate the most about Zizaran and your community is that you are to a fault trying to stay positive. Like all the time you're putting effort into that. Massive effort, right? And we talked a lot about that in the past. The value that has, that maybe someone's having a tough day, comes on and watches a game and watches a positive streamer, and that becomes like a little beacon of light in their life, is like a ripple effect that cannot be overstated. And I think that my first goal on Twitch is to make people happy. And that's why I focus on entertainment value and I focus on improv and I focus on skills that hopefully like make people's day a little bit better. Um, number one. Number two, and lastly, I think it's I really want to give people tools that make them successful in life by their own definition, because I can't define that for them. Whether that be financially, whether that be spiritually,
Mhm.
whether that be physically, I want to provide tool sets that make people the best they can be in their definition and make them better than they were before. And I want to always encourage everybody to be 1% better, because if you're 1% better every day, by the end of the day, by the end of the year, you're not 365% better. You're thousands of percent better, because every one of those 1% is exponential. So it's a little bit of applied effort every single day that can make you into exactly who you want to be. And if I'm a very small part of doing that, then I've completely succeeded as a broadcaster.
I wish we had like a microphone you could just drop right now because that was a very very good answer. In fact,
Thanks, man.
everything today was a great conversation. Really enjoyed having you here. Huge thank you for taking the time out of your day. I know you're very busy to come on here and talk to us. Really enjoyed it.
Enormous honor, seriously.
Yeah, thank you.
The way you put these together is super awesome.
I'm glad you
It's
like
really
it.
cool.
That's awesome. That means a
Yeah.
lot, especially coming from you. Um,
Yeah, man.
where can people find more of your channel, Devin, if they want to see more of you?
Oh God. So I just as a caveat, I don't do this full time, so I'm here and there. But the two places I think that I live the most right now, YouTube.com/DevinNash. That's where I put a lot of like really industry relevant videos. And secondly, I run a Twitch stream every morning. It's twitch.tv/DevinNash. All my branding is consistent. You can find me on Twitter, everything Devin Nash. Yeah, I want to thank your community for tolerating me, and thank you. I hope you guys really enjoyed this talk, and I hope it didn't come off too bad and like everything's good. And Zizaran, thank you for having me, man. It's a huge honor to be on your broadcast and also to be your friend
It
on a lot
is
of levels.
my pleasure, 100%. And yeah, thank you so much again. And a big thank you as well to all the mods that helped out. It was Vaush, Mamunha, and Mr. Madiki taking questions and putting
Yeah.
it into a document that I can like single out and like take questions from. And an even bigger thank you to you, the person watching this video, because yeah, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch us talk about random stuff. And yeah, it's been a pleasure having you guys here. So on that, we're gonna leave you. Thanks for watching, and try to die less than I do.
That was easy in Heist League, by the way. Thanks, Ziz.